September 22nd. I hope you're all having a wonderful holiday time. Thought it was appropriate to have a winter background and throw on a winter jacket. It's quite lovely out. It's nice to have this time of year. I hope you're spending time with family and friends and all of that wonderful thing. All that wonderful time. All right. I was just watching a little bit of information. If you were watching our show earlier, I was watching a thing about geoengineering dangers discussed by certain officials. So, yes, well, I do like zone heating because it does save us money and it saves everyone money. Hi, Drag King. Hi, Giraffe Brain. Hi, Havana Coffee. Hi, Jersey City Newport. Hi, Meow TV2. Hi, Robert. Hi, Shrek.
Hey, Shrek.
Hi, Trollzar. Hi, DJ Bad Boy. Hi, Walton. And if you want me to say hi to you and you're at Ustream, you'll have to come over to vonlive.tv/thirdparty. Same thing if you're watching us at YouTube. Come over here to vonlive.tv/thirdparty. That's where I monitor the chat.
Yeah, and we get the chat, man. We get so many people that are trying to stop us from doing what average Americans would do simply because they care about their country. And we're surprised how many people are up to no good trying to, attack what we're doing. And it seems that the two-party system has got this a brainwashing thing going on. People are seemingly brainwashed into believing that somehow the two parties represent democracy, but in reality, quite the opposite's happening. The two-party conspiracy has violated our national security and our personal privacy, and I'll get to that in just a second. Hang on.
2 police officers were killed in Brooklyn. And the new mayor, Bill de Blasio, hasn't said anything and hasn't really been in the public eye. Pretty interesting. Oh, interesting. You think the Bureau of North Korea and hackers attacked their own ISP to make it look like Japan attacked them?
Right, yeah. Well, many people are wondering what happened in North Korea. There was a hack where their internet
is being disrupted.
Right. And we talked about doing that as a security measure against countries like Nigeria that engage in fraud and attack on individuals financially. North Korea, it seems like a logical conclusion, our country would do that in retaliation for what they did to Sony, but who knows? It could even be the North Koreans doing it to themselves, blaming on somebody. I mean, who knows? You don't really know with the internet. But what we do know is the two-party system has neglected to preserve the peace. And in the past 6 years under Obama, not to mention 8 years under Bush, our country's closer and closer to a nuclear conflict with Russia than it's ever been. And one only has to blame the president because he sets the tone for all of that. In fact, he is single-handedly responsible for a lot of the aggression Russia has with us right now. His advisors must be retiring resigning. Chuck Hagel just resigned last week because he couldn't get Barack Obama to articulate a plan for Syria. Interesting, huh? So the people that are good are leaving his administration toward the end while the sinking ship of his administration takes our country down a very dark road. Isn't that weird? So we have a lot to work on to create a good, cohesive focus on America's future. We have a lot of growing room, and a third party would definitely bring on a new face for American foreign policy as we know it. So how is everyone tonight? You're Sam. Are you Sam? Thank you. Your DJ Bad Boy says he's Sam. Okay, cool. Obama says the Sony hack vandalism was not an act of war. Okay, well, let's be clear. Let me just take a look here. He's looking a little peaked there, isn't he? Like, is this the guy that started running in 2008? I mean, look at this guy. I mean, seriously, Sarah. Aren't you a little concerned?
Presidency ages people quite a bit.
Oh, well, that's a little bit more than just aging a guy. I mean, there's something wrong. Why is his skin so powdery? What's going on there? Well, let's be clear. Yeah, he's definitely aging. Well, Jay Cracky, we'll get to this business starting.
Have to raise this picture.
Have to raise this picture.
Yeah, or lower your body.
Well, Jay, what about just lowering the face?
It's weird. Oh, you're weird. No, you're strange.
All right, yeah. So basically, Barack Obama is backpedaling and also setting up flares with his Arab Spring plan, which was, in my opinion, a terrible idea to force democracy around the world. I mean, how ridiculous is that?
Oh, that's hilarious.
Cat localities that are absolutely cool.
The little things they felt for their cat. Their Star Wars.
Let's take a look at that on screen. That's very cute. Look at that. Wow. I assume this is a Meow TV link?
Yes, of course.
Okay. Meow TV has the ultimate cat accoutrements for your living room furniture.
That's hilarious.
The Transformer and also the Cat Mobile on a carpet of cat fluffiness. Well, we found out on Saturday on our anti-war rally that our cat is indeed a coon cat, and I was so happy to find that out. Thank you very much for all of your help with cat links. All right, so when we talk about conspiracies in the world, we might as well be standing on a massive pile of crap with all kinds of baby powder all over it, so it disguises the smell. Because there's so many piles of conspiracies out there that stink to high heaven. All I have to do is scratch and sniff, and it's going to be a massive, we're going to open the door to Pandora's box. So you guys name the conspiracy, and we'll start talking about it. Otherwise, I'll just wing it, okay? And if you don't want to talk about conspiracies, let's just pretend like everything's just fine. Okay? Great.
Sales of existing homes hit a 6-month low, puzzling analysts.
Yeah, sales of existing homes hit a 6-month low because people aren't buying houses because the economy sucks.
Yeah, exactly.
And I am quite pleased with the fact that I don't have to deal with that right now in my life.
No, a Maine Coon cat is this particular type of cat, Al Jolson. It has nothing to do with that.
No, it has nothing to do with that, Al. It's a Maine Coon cat, and we found out that our cat has all the markings.
Meow TV2 says he was trying to tell you that for
4 years?
6 years since Block TV when we first opened it.
And coon was a blocked word. Isn't that amazing? So for 4 years or 6 years, we haven't even known. And for me, it was a revelation because I thought, wow, this is exactly... I actually said to Sarah, like a week before we heard about this stray cat, I said, Sarah, wouldn't it be great if I had like a lap kitty that was like... Because I used to have cats when I was a kid. Wouldn't it be great if I had a lap kitty, like a Norwegian forest cat, or... because they're really friendly. Or a raccoon, like a coon cat, because I hear they're really like bond and they're territorial. And hey, thank you. It's my black shirt because it's a Black Monday. You want a mountain cat? Well, this cat turned out to be a mountain cat, and somehow Providence prevailed, and we got the ultimate cat, and we saved her life, and I'm so pleased about that. Okay, sales of existing homes 6 months low, right? Yep.
Say tensions in New York City are like the 1970s.
Wow. You know, there's a time when New York City was really... I was in New York Central Park in 1968, 68. And I could tell you, man, my parents... I was 8 years old and my parents took me around. There was a knifing right across the street from me.
Wow.
Right there near Central Park. I remember seeing... Yeah, and then when I went back in the late '70s, there was like a vibrant art community forming in Central Park. It was kind of the post '60s era, and I remembered I have a really cool picture of me in Central Park, where I'm actually with my sister Connie, and I'll publish those in my book. Actually, there's some of my favorite pictures. But it was a different time at that time. It really was. Now racial tensions are amping up, and I could almost blame the media for that. Because I don't believe the American people, no matter what their color, wants racial hostility at all. Let's get started. Tonight is the night we begin to save America. Robert 492. Good idea. Let's get started. Every night should be the beginning of our attempt to save America, even though we've been doing this for 6 years consistently. But I agree. That's the fourth lone wolf attack on the rats, from the rats in 1 week. Okay. The France Dijon vehicle attack. Okay, thanks. Do you trust anything on CNN, Meow TV?
I think he does trust CNN.
You seem to support, the idea of CNN is really kind of a good location. I tend to believe that they're a CIA news source, that they are CIA/CNN news. Here's the blimp again, another blimp high above the clouds NASA's putting out there. You guys heard about the $2.5 billion blimp project? Yep, NASA does. Oh yeah, there you go. Remember I was mentioning that this is actually something that I believe has been built. It's Area 51.
Well, instead of putting it there, let's move it over there.
Okay.
Thanks.
NASA wants to build a floating city above the clouds of Venus. Venus exploration has been deemed off limits due to its inhospitable climate, but NASA believes Cloud City may be the answer. Artistic concept of the permanent city? Wow. See, other people have blimp ideas like mine. I'm not the only blimp guy. So instead of now get this, instead of mining the face of the moon, NASA wants to build blimps on top of Venus, a planet that would burn up, and I'm sure the blimps would easily singe at the thought of deploying. But oh no, NASA doesn't want to go back to the moon. Well, why haven't we been back to the moon in over 45 years? The only answer is one simple
Yes, Venus,
and obvious
Florida.
answer. Yeah, they're going to Venus, Florida, exactly.
With the Venus Project.
We haven't been back to the moon because of this object right there.
Jasmine rice is like a fluffy white rice, right?
Jasmine is very fluffy and very white, full of arsenic. Yeah, it's good. Arsenic is one of those things commonly found in the ground, and because most rice is grown in wetlands, it tends to absorb more arsenic. So beware of, be sure you rinse your rice. This is the item that NASA doesn't want to talk about. The elephant in the closet. It's the size of half of Chicago, and it's sitting in a crater. And that's why we haven't been back to the moon. No, the moon has all kinds of potential rare earth metals, platinum that we need.
Oh, Merry Christmas, Cherry Breeze.
Oh, Merry Christmas.
Oh, thank you so much.
Well,
that
Happy
would be
New
a
Year.
nice New Year's resolution to have you back in the cast more.
Well, that would be
often.
nice. Yeah, that's a good resolution, Sherry Breeze. Thank you so much.
Some people want us to turn on guest chat, but I don't think it's such a good thing because the people that want us to do it are the people that are trolls.
We've got trolls asking to get guest chat on. Yeah, we'll wait on that. So this object in here is something the government doesn't want to talk about, yet they sent countless orbs and probes to look at it. They won't talk about that either. But instead they want to talk about blimps above Venus. That's like talking about polyps near Uranus. I mean, I don't want to go there. I really don't. Okay, let's talk about other things here. Any other questions about life in general? Yeah, really. Yeah, exactly. It detected a huge pocket of frozen water about 2 miles under the moon dust. Well, is there such a bad thing about a huge pocket of water? I mean, okay. Casey sends his holiday love to Sarah as well. Thank you. And Cherry Breeze, thank you so much for being a part of our show and when you can. It's nice. And I heard you're doing your own broadcast, which is great. I think that's wonderful. You know, you guys can use the internet and the medium that we use every night in a way that kind of helps you. Sarah and I are kind of a miracle couple in that we met on the internet in 1998, believe it or not, and we're one of the lucky few, that found somebody at a time when, we weren't really sure what this internet was. It is possible that the moon could be an empty, or like a complete empty orb floating in the earth that's already been mined by aliens. It could be like there's a theory that the moon is hollow. Similarly, there's a theory that the earth is hollow and that Nazis have lived in Antarctica for the past 35 or 50 years. I mean, no one can corroborate this.
That's interesting. Yeah,
Patty Duke was the miracle worker, yes. I don't know. No, Sarah and I never had a one-night stand. I mean, come on. I actually courted Sarah on the internet, and then I made a phone call. Actually, no. I actually sent her the sound of my voice via a WAV file. And she opened it up on her computer, and it said, "Hi, David, this is Sarah." Or, "Hi, Sarah, this is David." And I do a lot of voiceover, so oftentimes I'm not sure who I am, but just kidding. And then she listened to it, and it went from there to let's talk on the phone. And then I courted visiting her, making sure she was the right person to be a companion in my life. I went down and visited her, and she wanted to check me out, so she had somebody there making sure I was a normal person when I arrived in my rented Mustang. Brand new Mustang I rented. I wanted to make a good first impression. That was one of the keys. Always make a good first impression. That's the first step in mating anybody, obviously. Oh, I'm not even following chat. Hang on. How romantic. I know. Of course she thinks I'm normal. I've always been normal. Ever since I met her, I've been the same person. You are Kissinger, you know that? I am not Henry Kissinger. Despite the facial reconstructive surgeries, I am not Henry Kissinger.
We don't believe whoever that person is, Cherry Breeze. Yes, I do like David.
Thank you. We like each other, and we do love each other too, so thank you.
You're welcome. No problem, Cherry Breeze.
It's nice to be with a person. They say that being with a person who's a good match, it will elongate your life. This show, it really is for real. Yes, it is. Moist and Ready is here. Well, you've discovered a good name, a username. Yep. Let me ask you, are you new to the room, Moist and Ready, or are you just
I wouldn't believe him, Cherry.
Yeah. Make sure you get real online Skype communication before you actually meet somebody.
Or video to video. It doesn't have to be Skype.
It could be Uvu. Yeah.
Uvu, yeah. Exactly. Face chat somehow.
Face chat, yeah. Because otherwise you meet this person that you wouldn't possibly be attracted to.
Yeah, that's people that are liars, drag king, normally do tend to be that way.
So you don't want to run into somebody who claims to be 120 pounds and 5'3" with, oftentimes it's a male guy who's a lesbian, pretending to be a lesbian. A guy who's like 50 or 45 years old who's a lesbian. Then you get this guy on the phone going, "Hey, how you doing? Hey, you're not Christine. Where's Christine?" "Yeah, dude, I'm Christine. What's the deal?" Yeah, you got to avoid that on the internet. There's a lot of people, because a lot of people don't chat with people who are 30 or 40, 50, who are like alone. So oftentimes they'll pose as like young women. Seriously. You want a president who will touch you, a president who will say things that turn you on to politics. Well, good. Well, I'm glad you came in, because you have an interesting name. We are always looking for people that want to get involved with politics. That's what we're good at. We're not good at breaking into mainstream politics, but we're good at talking about politics. The mainstream of politics is essentially locked out of the average person. Unless you're willing to give in to their plans and oftentimes they're controlled by corporations and big moneyed interests. You're never going to fit in. So I knew I couldn't fit into the Democratic Party. I knew I had to leave. I didn't realize how hard it was to get a third party going, though. And in the most recent election, I had over 90% of my signs were stolen by Democrats and Republicans who just resented a guy running against them. And now I was running as a preferred Democrat and literally trying to one last time to run as a Democrat, and they literally slammed me in every way. So they don't want anybody with new ideas to enter their parties. That leaves it up to you, the voter, to decide, well, what about a new party? So that's why we are building America's third party, and that's why we've been doing this for 6 years.
I think because it easily converts into a gas is why they call it gasoline. I guess. Or they call it Olean.
Morgoth, I don't in any way consider myself a conspiracy theorist. I really don't. I talk about them in ways that I air the views of others, but I in no way consider myself a conspiracy theorist. Yeah, I know. I do believe there is a shadow government, and any moron would tell you, yeah, there are people who have so much money they control the government. I do believe that there have been a number of conspiracy facts we could talk about that just don't add up. I have a huge question about Osama bin Laden being killed May 1st, 2011, and that is, why can't we see a picture of his dead body? How come we were never, ever given a picture of his dead body? I have other questions about conspiracy facts, like the Pentagon only released 15 frames of the Pentagon being, the FBI released only 15 frames of the Pentagon attack when there were 83 camera angles at that location during the World Trade Center attack. There was evidence of superthermite that the 9/11 Commission report never, ever added to their mix when they looked at it. So all these questions, Sandy Hook, oh yeah, the school has been taken down. There's not one stitch of blood evidence in any of the redacted police reports the Connecticut State Police released 11 months after the event. The only blood evidence is like a little drop from like a paintbrush drop outside of the front of the school. That's it. It's hard to believe that Adam Lanza killed his mom, Nancy, when there's not one string of evidence released from the state police that show an outline of her body at the home. You always see outlines of bodies in police reports. You always do. All right, so Morgoth, why don't you go back to your therapy for OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, and just, because you have to constantly nitpick every one of our shows, please leave. Thank you. It's unreal. Police are in jeopardy, yeah. Their life, they know that they join the force and they're risking their life. Yeah, it was all redacted. It's a cool word. Yeah, all of that police evidence presented by the Connecticut State Police was without any solid evidence pointing to Adam Lanza. So, we could look at all these things. Am I a conspiracy theorist? No, I'm a conspiracy questioner. Yeah. I question why we don't see the evidence, the evidentiary chains. I question all of that. Does that make me a whack job? No, not at all. I feel you, dude. I know where you're coming from.
Yes, Cherry Breeze. I think that could be going on for quite a while now as well.
So what I want to do is kind of rigidify our thoughts and put them into an ice cube and set them back here. And I want all of you to stop thinking about everything around you. And just forget about everything and don't have a question at all about anything.
I'm completely not that way, Cherry Breeze. I wish I were.
Yeah,
I'm
stop
glad
questioning.
David's more that way than me.
Guest chat is off because we wanted you people to flesh out some of your alternate accounts before you started attacking us in the show. I just needed to know who you were because we're still working on our band list. Thank you, though, for coming in and showing your new account. Yeah, so just make yourself into an ice cube and stop thinking about everything. And I'm sure your life will be nice. Frozen, but nice. You won't go very far. You won't have any solutions to problems. You certainly won't have a government that will represent you. But you'll be a nice little ice cube in the ice track, in the ice tray of our minds. Well, I mean, they've pretty much frozen our thought process by programming us on TV, fluoridating us in our municipal water supply where it causes brain damage to people, sending radio frequencies out everywhere so we're barely able to get through our daily life without walking around in a stupor, as if we're on Thorazine. And, realize too that, it's a safe place to be completely frozen in time and space. For those of you that are getting a little bit more moist and ready, you have a little bit of meltdown going on. Maybe you're a little concerned that maybe there was a couple people in America that were killed. Maybe inadvertently, maybe some suicides look like suicides, but could very well be suicidings. Yeah, moist and ready is in here right now. We've got a moist and ready person right now. On this account, Moist and Ready is a horny woman. This is a classic guy. He's 48 years old. He can't find people to talk to. I would say Moist and Ready's 38, excuse me. He can't find anyone to talk to on the internet, so he comes up with the name Moist and Ready, and he's very liberal. I've already profiled you. You're actually Jewish, am I right? You can say yes or no, it doesn't matter. Yellowstone, the thermal pools, colored by pollution. Really? Some of the biggest attractions for visitors to Yellowstone National Park are hot springs such as Morning Glory, Grand Prismatic, Abyss, Emerald and Sapphire, which shimmer with striking combinations of various colors. But what people don't know is it's complete, total pollution. That's right. Believe it or not, the Earth is polluting the Earth. So no, she's not a woman. It's a 38-year-old dude, and he's probably a Hasidic Jew who's been on the internet for a while and has all these aliases, and he trolls the internet trying to get people to talk to him. Am I right? Okay, thank you. I know my internet. No, Morgoth, please. That's denigrating, and I will not allow you to denigrate the show. And don't call me a conspiracy theorist. Thank you. God. I know. Moist and Ready's a nice name, though. We'll let you stay in here, even though you're a liberal.
Okay, with that, I'm going to take a break and go clean.
Thank you. There's all kinds of stuff to do here in Santa's workshop. Yep.
Yes, maybe they could stay with the topic.
I will help guide the chat, Sarah. As David's automated chat assistant, I will do his deeds while you are away. Welcome to the show. It was a seamless transition to the automated chat server. All right. I am not a robot. I am a cybernetic organism. I'm a cybernetic organism. Human flesh over metal exoskeleton. Welcome to the chat. I look a little white in this chat. I mean, can I be a little bit less white? I am Robbie the Robot. Well, let's be clear. Thank you, Cherry. And thanks for coming in and talking about stuff like that. It's always fun to talk to ladies and guys about fun stuff like this. All right, I look like I'm really white in this picture. There's something wrong with the settings here. I have to get some more color. I feel like I've been, I'm one step away from the morgue here. Well, let's be clear. Barack Obama looked, oh, that's even worse. That's a nuclear radiation look. All right. There we go. Thank you. Yes. Okay. You look good, David. Real good. Ooh, moist and ready. Okay. Remember, you're a dude. You're a 38-year-old dude. You're not a woman. This is just an identity you've taken on and pretend to dominate the chat. I'm eating red bread right now, or I beyond that? Hello there, Zero Army. So North Korea's internet was disrupted. experiencing major disruption and could be the target of an attack, according to a company that monitors internet performance. So after North Korea was blamed for the attack on Sony, they're now being attacked themselves. Wow. A case of quid pro quo. You know, what goes up must come down.
And now Anonymous is certain Anonymous members are threatening Sony, telling them to release the interview. I mean, who? Really?
Yep. Well, I know it's an interesting theory, but the reality is, Moisten, already you are a 38-year-old dude of Jewish descent, and you drive a blue car. Am I right? Or silver blue. Okay, Joe Cocker, raspy voiced rock star with instinctive moves, is dead at 70. This is the top story, Sarah. Joe Cocker is dead. Oh my God. A piece of rock and roll history is now deceased, everybody. The gravelly British singer who became one of the pop's most recognizable interpreters in the late 1960s and 70s, with passionate, idiosyncratic takes on songs like the Beatles. With a little help from my friends, he died on Monday at his home in Crawford, Colorado. The singer died of lung cancer. May it be a good warning to all of you to not be smoking too many cigarettes there. Yeah, Robert says Joe died while singing "It's High Time I Went." Thanks, Robert. I'm going to try to... Yeah, I'm having a little problem with the camera still. It's this bright background. I still feel like I'm in the morgue.
Oh, the blue. Get rid of the background.
There I am. I'm no less of in the morgue now. Okay, good. He gets high with a little help from his pot friends in Colorado. Do you think that contributed? Do you think pot contributed to his death? Because the record I have of pot, it shows me that no one's ever died from marijuana. I mean, that's a pretty outrageous statement, I think, for somebody to say nobody's ever died from marijuana. And you're asking, why would they put it on the list of controlled substances if nobody ever died from it? Because they don't want... The original reason the Marijuana Stamp Act occurred, they didn't want Mexicans to come into the country with marijuana. I was trying to come up with the etiology of the name pot. Etiology. And in the process, I determined that pot came from the melting pot that they used back in the days of yore when they actually made hemp oil. Is it possible? What do you think? Hemp oil? Soros is a bastard. Yeah, I don't trust him, security monitor. I don't take funding from Soros, but I do want to legalize marijuana. And the reason why I want to legalize marijuana is 58% of the population supports that idea. That gives me an edge as a third-party candidate. Here's a solar-powered tent that can power all your mobile gadgets. I remember seeing this. It's kind of cool. See, this isn't just Conspiracy Monday. This is a little taste of everything. Technology that'll save your life in the event of a disaster. If you're a prepper, and you've been following all the prepper websites on YouTube and spend all your time prepping, this tent would be fantastic for you in a serious situation where you've got to have an urban survival kit. Are you a prepper? And if so, check that link out. It's themindunleashed.org that has this link. All right. You're repping with prepping? A lot of people on the internet scaring the living daylights out of people about prepping. Believe it or not, there's a lot of internet sites out there that create fear to generate revenue. You'll notice that none of our shows are all about donations. We don't talk about donations hardly at all on our show. And I want you to know that's because we're not trying to in any way capitalize on fear. We're not trying to do that. No, I'm serious. It's a pot smoking tent, right? Where you can plug all your Wi-Fi equipment in and sit and go on the internet while you're getting high in the open outdoors. So yeah, if you do want to get a third party going, it's the hidden silent messages. We need donations from U.S. citizens. But the bottom line is we could do this without any real solicitation at all. And that's how we've been able to do it. And that's why we continue to be one of the only independent voices on the internet, in my opinion. Many voices are bought off or in it for the money. We're trying to build a political movement in America. I'm not a person who wants personal gain out of anything I'm doing here. I want to just promote a new party that can help represent the American people. Big difference. You know, people tell me about RuneScape all the time and creating a clan. You know, I need to get on that. I agree. But I'm doing a gaming show during the day, and I'm going to be going into live interactive gaming during our game show on Xbox Live coming up this year. We're breaking into Xbox Live and doing interactive gaming. So I am in gaming, but I haven't done RuneScape. Have you seen this? Captain Howdy. The serpent bracelet, like a tablet, but on your skin. The possibilities, wow. Whoa, that's so cool. Look at that. Very cool. Like it a lot. Thank you for that. First time I've ever seen this, Sarah. This is awesome. Well, that's because you eat too much while you've got the munchies. Very cool. I am going to stop that right now and just revel in the amazement that we have available. And if you get the RFID chip environment, it'll actually communicate with your brain directly. You won't even have to move your hands. And pretty soon the chip will be marked with the mark of Satan. Okay. Yeah. So the more you embrace technology, the more likely technology will embrace you.
You want me to just leave this mouse out, or you want me to put it under the tree?
Put the mouse under the tree. It turned out our mouse needed batteries all along. Oh, sorry. Don't look at the mouse. If you've got an optical mouse like this, don't look at that little red light. It's dangerous. And don't get your kids near it. It can burn their retina. No, just throw it in there. You're fine. The mouse can sit in the bag. That'll be Amber's mouse. We've got a little optical mouse to replace it. Actually, I've got a laptop I can use it for. Anyway. Yep, so we've got a lot of fun stuff to talk about. Obviously, technology is a fascination for a lot of people, but will it control the world? And will we go in a direction that will ultimately make our nation controlled by micro aerial vehicles? Things like this.
Micro air vehicles, or MAVs, will play an important role in future warfare. The urban
battlefield. So yeah, this whole thing is pretty serious. When these people are able to fly 30,000 drones over our head by 2020, you could don't worry about you're fine. You can stand to gain a little weight during Christmas. Everybody could. Do you think technology is making us more lazy? That is a very good question, Cherry. It is possible that human beings will use less of their body fat while interacting in a cybernetic environment. Yeah, Joe Cocker died, Sir Quack. It sucks. R.I.P. Joe Cocker, man. A true rocker, man, of the ultimate proportion. Wasn't it Joe Cocker that ate a snake at one time? Maybe not. So micro aerial vehicles, we're going to have 30,000 over our head by 2020. I don't support all the domestic surveillance that these things have, their capabilities. But then you've got all this new technology that's really old technology. I mean, you've got Berkeley Bionics. This was done about 6 years ago about
Not
exoskeletons.
For public viewing until November 2007, the Exo Hiker was the first generation field-ready exoskeleton designed by Berkeley Bionics. The system completed with little effort. It weighs only 31 pounds, even when equipped with enough batteries for long-duration missions, and can be hand-carried. Can easily be taken off. Components can be quickly changed to fit individuals of various heights.
Now, if these components were separate and it was attached to a robotic mainframe, this exoskeleton can actually walk itself. Could easily perform tasks on its own body.
It has provided invaluable user feedback that has been used to design subsequent generations, which will enable soldiers and emergency personnel to carry types of equipment which were previously impossible to transport on foot. It has also opened the door to the very real possibility of offering the permanently disabled a replacement for their wheelchairs.
So that's a good thing. A replacement for their wheelchairs, but this could spin off into a very dark direction that wouldn't be necessarily what America needs. We're talking the possibility of robot cops, virtual robot cops, much like the ones in the Terminator. I mean, with Terminator coming out in the next year, there are a lot of people that think that it's good to have a RoboCop in your neighborhood. Yeah. Is that Exo? It's not Exo Company, no. It's Berkeley Bionics Security Monitor. So pretty soon you're going to have a RoboCop coming up to your door. I'm a cybernetic organism. Yeah, this bionic man is stronger than an ox, but falls to pieces when you display the Star of David. Berkeley Bionics. So the possibility that without any kind of democracy in our government, a complete hijacking of the two-party system of whatever we thought was America and freedom, and they don't do a damn thing in the two parties to stop what I'm talking about, the existence of drones as well as exoskeletons and robots, because we have nothing in place to brace ourselves for this massive explosion of technology. We Americans are vulnerable to being manipulated, and ultimately we could lose our freedoms. Now, in cities all across the world, like London, they've got over 50,000 video cameras in a 5-mile square radius in Londonderry. So wherever you go, you're constantly being watched. Exactly. And I personally think in areas where there's potential for terrorism, it definitely makes sense. But should everyone be targeted at every intersection for making a little mistake in going through a yellow and it maybe drifted into a red light? Should everyone have scanners all over the place monitoring their daily activity and where they're located? I know, Sherry. I don't really care. I'm not English, you know that. And that's the point. I don't care to be English. My sister was correcting me last night. We were watching a movie about Paris. And she kept saying, oh, David, it's Paris. To me, it's Paris, okay? And for that reason, maybe Parisian people don't like Americans, okay? You understand what I'm saying? It is whatever I say it is, Cherry. And I can speak like that if I want, okay? Oh, but don't talk like that. You're butchering the English language. You can't tell me what to do. You're talking to an American. You understand me? Or I could be like Sling Blade. Exactly.
I like the way you talk too. Mm-hmm. I like them taters and mustard. Mm-hmm. I'll put my baby brother in a shoebox. Mm-hmm.
I mean, seriously. What right do you have to tell me that my English accent is atrocious? You should be ashamed of yourself, young lady. All right, whatever. No, I don't snort coke. I'm not like your president. I never did crack, okay? I'll do a lie detector test. You can ask me, did you do crack? No, I did not do crack. Well, I don't do Skype anymore, Cherry. Unfortunately, you're going to have to listen to the worst British accent on earth. That's your punishment tonight. That's right. You know, the southern accent ain't that far from the British accent. They're out there in the front of your mouth. Beer from Alabama? You do an awesome British accent, really? Well, perhaps you should enter our show. It'd be wonderful. Bravissimo. When did you last smoke weed? Pencil Tucky Ducky says. Well, I didn't smoke recently, I can tell you that, but I vaped just a few minutes ago. I'm just kidding. Next question. The name's Bond. James Bond. 007 to you, sir. He's a homo. Who you talking about, Brad King? All right, let's get the show on the road, all right? To all the ladies I loved before, to each and every one my boy. Hang on just a second. We've got a direct feed from Conspiracy Central here. That's right. Coming on board, the attack on the Pentagon. All the government would release. This is it, everybody. Take a good look. Take a gander at this little teeny missile. The government claims it's a 737. Okay. Oh, I believe that, yeah. So, what does the nose piece on a 737 look like? Oh, by the way, North Korea's internet is back up after the disruption. So now we're watching North Korea's internet everywhere. That's big news in America now. North Korea's internet's back up again. Oh, golly. 737 nose cone. Let's take a look at the nose cone of a 737. Oh, really? Huh. How could that be? Here's a nose cone of a 737. Oh, how interesting. See how they just don't compare, even if you shrink them down? I mean, how can that be a 737? Seriously. So why is the government lying to us? I ask you that. Why did they lie about the plane being hit in the Pentagon? David, I played in a small part in a movie a few years ago. Really, Captain Howdy? Really? So you were in that movie? I'm impressed. I don't want to watch it, though. Thank you. All right, so you pretty much figured out that that's not exactly what happened to the Pentagon, right? Okay. All right, so they were lying. Any other questions? Thank you. The white streak appears to be smoke dust trail. Yeah, what is that? I want the CD to everything. You can get them at Walmart. Yes, white streak. That does appear to be a racist statement. Good point, Giraffe Brain. And I ask you, Cherry, please don't use any English accent on our show. Thank you. It would be inappropriate. You don't even understand. We're in America. The free speech is rules in this country. We're not in England, where you can get arrested for calling someone a packy. This is America, okay? If I want to do a bad accent, I can. You understand me? Holy moly. A packy, Tomato Girl, is a person in Pakistan. It's a slang colloquialism that they use in England. Welcome to England. All right, move on. She's sulking now. She won't talk. She's very upset. Okay, hello David. First time chatter, long time viewer, Gingerbread. Welcome. We're going to introduce a new conspiracy theory any minute now. Let me show you what Bush was doing during the classroom experience. It'll blow your mind. Remember when the Trade Center was being attacked?
Yeah, they can read all these words on this page without making a mistake. Look at the letter at the end and remember the sound it makes. Get ready? Kite. Yes, kite. Get ready to read this word the fast way. Get ready.
Kid.
Yes, kid. Sound it out. Get ready.
Sound it out.
Sound it out.
Sound
Get
it out.
ready.
Get ready.
What
Sound
word?
it out.
Kid.
Yes, kid. Boys and girls, sound this word out. Get ready.
Seal.
What word?
Seal.
Yes, steal. Read these words the fast way. Get ready.
Play.
Yes, play. Get ready.
Must.
Yes, must. Let's read these words the fast way without making a mistake. Get ready.
Kite.
Yes, kite. Get ready.
Kit.
Yes, kit. Get ready.
Seal.
Yes, steal. Get ready.
Play.
Yes, playing. Get ready.
Must.
Yes, must. Go to your speaker reader up from under your seat. Open your book up to lesson 60 on page 153.
Right? This is when he finds out we're under attack. Look at his eyes. Check out how shifty his eyes are. Watch this.
153. If the yellow paper is going to bother you, drop it. Thank you. Everybody touch the title of your story. Fingers under the title. Get ready to read the title, The Fast Way.
He's going to lift up the book and read it upside down.
Thank you. Fingers under the title of the story.
Let me fast forward.
Go on. Go on. Try that again. Get ready.
So while our country is being attacked, this guy is his shifty eyes all over the place. He acts like nothing's happening. Dick Cheney, the vice president, is responding to a direct attack on our nation. During this time period, he's reading the book upside down. Dick Cheney is talking to a man named General Worley. And General Worley he's actually a person who, for 35 minutes, was trying to get Dick Cheney to respond to the World Trade Center attack. Well, it turns out that General Worley is one of many people who were involved in this during the takedown of the Trade Center. And he actually is this guy. Worley was the officer who scrambled fighter jets into D.C. on the day of 9/11. On June 22, 2009, Major General David Worley was killed when two commuter trains crashed into each other right there. He and his wife were killed. There were 2 of 9 people killed in that accident. Both trains were ripped open and smashed together in the worst accident in the Metro Rail system's 33-year history, folks. Investigators determined that the striking train was under automatic rather than manual control. So, needless to say, so kite hits steel plane must is a Shakespearean tragedy. Interesting, yeah. Needless to say, there's so many questions that are never answered. General Worley could have answered why he spent 35 minutes hemming and hawing with Dick Cheney in response to the attack. Okay? Black innocent guy says, all this is good, but listen, it has nothing to do with me. Well, I understand, but it does. If there is a secret element within our government that's purposely causing disasters to put us into wars like Iraq and Afghanistan, it definitely happens to people like you, man. People like you end up going to war and fighting and losing your life, man. Get with the program. All right. David, I've never stolen a sign. I had 90% of my signs stolen in the recent primary. Ain't no jab, Tookie. So yeah, it'll affect you. You'll be, innocently trying to get a job in the military, and then all of a sudden you're in Afghanistan fighting for your life, and you don't know why. Gingerbread just got excited, everyone. Let's have a special moment of thought about Gingerbread's special moment, where Gingerbread experienced a special feeling. In fact, this calls for something very special. It does. It really does. Yeah. I think to carry forth the message of wonderfulness, we need to do something special here. I just don't know what. Let's get you all jazzed up with a little bit of Charlie Manson.
Do you feel blame? Are you mad? Do you feel like Wolf's Bob right Flanders? Get Flanders,
and then kick it off with little Mr. Rogers.
Neighbor, welcome again to this neighborhood.
Neighborhood.
I'd like to show you something.
Okay.
You know what this is?
No, what?
Maybe if I press this button. This is a cassette player with a little cassette in here, and there's nothing written on it.
No, nothing is written on it. Because you can make up your own blank slate here in America. David, do you ever get a bleep bleep when bleep bleep? No, I'm sorry, Turnip, for what? I cannot respond to your statement. Okay, any other questions? Let's get on to Ebola, the biggest false flag to face the American people in American history. Ah, yes, the wonders of Ebola. What is it, and how come we haven't been able to see any of the actual photographs of dead people in Liberia? And can we believe that Ebola really is as bad as they say it is? Any thoughts on that? We could ask William Shatner. Yeah, he's obviously been hanging out with a little too many little furries there. All right, sorry. I digress. Ebola is a scam, you believe? It's cured in ham. I bought me a nice set of overhauls for $8 today. Nice, man, dog. Cool. Are they Carhartt? Are they the kind that keep you warm in the winter? All right. Any other questions about Ebola? Okay, let's move on to the next false flag. Okay, we solved that one. No, there's absolutely no photographic evidence of Ebola. Let's take a look. Pictures of Ebola. I'm going to Google it. Let's take a look. I just want to verify what I can on the internet, on my internet. Okay, Sarah, there's lots of pictures of the Ebola virus. There's pictures here of people being carted away, okay?
I can't believe you don't believe that Ebola is not real.
No, I believe it is real, but I don't know if you, honestly, I don't know if you can really say for sure Ebola pics of mass dead. Let's take a look. Okay, I see one person there. They're saying there's 5,000 people dead in Liberia. Seriously.
Yeah, not all at one time, and not all. I mean, it's day after day after day after day.
Well, where are the mass graves? I'd like to just see that. You know, does anybody have any pictures of mass graves where they're putting the Ebola victims?
It is sad that these people are suffering.
It's a terrible thing, but I want to know if it's really happening. It's very sad. I'm sure there are people dying.
Why didn't you fly to Liberia and give us the inside scoop? You can be the investigative reporter on the ground.
Maybe I should go there and lick toilet bowls or something, you know? I'll be the toilet bowl licker in Liberia and just see for sure that it's really happening. Okay, Sarah. So just because you haven't seen pictures of this, now 7,000 people dead in Liberia doesn't mean it's not happening. You think in Africa just a bad outbreak of dysentery? Pumpkin Hunter says, okay. Please don't laugh at the idea of licking toilet bowls. It's inappropriate. Our government owns a patent on Ebola. Look at that. I have over 35 views on my latest video. You should see it. You're right. My view counter has stopped, by the way.
You can post the link, Gingerbread.
Yeah, post the link of my new video, and that'll help Gingerbread. Could you do that? Can I do the Mr. Anderson?
No, I don't, Storm Davis.
I can't really do Neo.
I'm just saying that if you want to find something out in person, I guess you have to go there in person to find out.
Mr. Anderson, I presume, Mr. Anderson. You, Mr. Anderson, clearly don't understand the Matrix, Mr. Anderson. What it can do to you, Mr. Anderson? The mind is a very powerful thing to waste, Mr. Anderson. And you are wasting your mind, Mr.
There's
Anderson.
no such thing, Captain Howdy, on David's hard drive. I don't believe
There's no such thing. Please don't make denigrating statements like that, Mr. Howdy. Okay, let's take a look at the video. Leroy, do you have pictures of the Ebola victims? Let's take a look.
Come on.
Right, let's go.
Oh,
let's get. Oh yeah.
David's, okay.
My newest dance video. Thank you, Leroy. That's the newest dance video. The hit counter has been stuck. You liked it? It's great. Thank you. Well, thank you very much. Morpheus, Mr.
42
Morpheus.
views, so I guess
Where is Morpheus, Mr. Anderson?
see where it goes.
All right, let's talk about how I'm going to get to Walmart tonight to buy that 3-box set CD or DVD of The Matrix, because I couldn't find it anywhere on Netflix.
Oh, you couldn't find it on Netflix.
Well, they want
I guess
$2.99 at
you should go.
Amazon Prime for The Matrix.
I could take over the show. You can go.
I need to go down to Walmart and get
That's
that
some money.
3 CD box, and I'll get it tomorrow. Please do not spam here. Thank you. Whew, that was tough.
I could
Close
be
one.
Trinity in the Matrix, and then David would save me because he's truly in love with me.
I love the story.
Like he was in love with Trinity. He
I love
was
the
in love
story.
with me.
It's true. I would go to the edge of the universe to save you.
Oh, you're so sweet.
You're welcome. I didn't do anything. I just said it. But no, I would. I would.
You would not rescue me from Liberia.
You would not be going to Liberia, I assure you. It's time for a back rub for Sarah. So that really is interesting. The Secret bracelet. The Secret bracelet. Did you see that, Sarah?
No, it looks cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's they could apparently go on the internet. See that?
That's awesome. Ooh, I could play Shipwrecked on my wrist. Oh my goodness, that's so cool.
Isn't that cool? I think she found her new Christmas item for next year. So technology is so evolving so fast.
So it
projects it from that light right
it
there.
Projects it from like a fit bracelet. That's so cool.
So with all this technology zooming ahead,
that's awesome.
You have a chubby? Good. Is it possible that this has all been reverse engineered from space aliens?
That is the future, Tomato Girl.
It is the future, I know. Is it possible that we are simply being reverse engineering what the aliens are giving to us? I know.
Oh, thank you, Fist.
The view count is stuck, Leroy. I hope everyone realizes that the only way I'm going to promote my videos is your help. YouTube has shut down all of my YouTube videos. They've censored everything. I'm telling you, this is really happening.
Very cool concept.
It's a very cool.
I think it's going to be difficult to fund it and to actually create it.
Fund it? I mean, come on.
I mean, concept.
Ryan Seacrest should buy this company for $1 million. I mean, why did he waste his time with that BlackBerry version of a regular iPad or iPhone? I mean, Ryan Seacrest should be putting his big bucks into this. Yeah, I've never seen a guy with more money quicker than Ryan Seacrest. He could easily buy that. Okay. Any other questions about the advent of technology and the influence of alien space technology and reverse engineering? Okay, let's move on. Yeah, Ryan Sellout, that's my name for him. Oh, here we go. Get cardboard. Google, check this out. And you thought you needed Google glasses? Well, Google has come out with an even cheaper way to get the internet. It's the cardboard Google Glass. Made from cardboard. It's designed to actually, I don't know, get cardboard for your own, buy or pre-made version from a manufacturer. I think somebody just kind of put that together. I know, that video was hilarious. But we're not allowed to have too much fun here. Oh, by the way, we showed you this solar.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Ted, I want to get one of these for our bug out bag for the car.
You wouldn't go in a tent.
I know, but I mean, no, you could sleep in it and charge up my Wi-Fi devices while I sleep in the car.
Okay, I'll sleep in the tent.
It's pretty good. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, let's move on to the next conspiracy.
I don't mind sleeping
oh,
in
and
a
Joe
tent.
Cocker died. You know about that one.
No, sad.
And we talked about NASA wanting to build these amazing
floating cities
above
Venus. I think
Venus.
I agree with Meow TV too. They should start above Venus, Florida, and they should team with the Venus Project. When are we going to make a baby?
Thank you, Daikini. You came up with a very true statement there. That's a very nice synopsis of who I am. I am something of a big deal. Thank you so much for understanding. That makes me feel good, Daikani. Thank you. Yeah, it's true. I I was a chess master in my school, that's for sure. I could easily beat anybody in chess. I just don't like to play because it's very stressful for me to compete.
There were, I believe, 3 presidents who were not married before. One was James Buchanan. One was Grover Cleveland, who then got married in the White House. And I'm not sure the third.
So with the advent of NASA talking about blimps, space blimps, you guys who are very negative about my idea for creating a solution for all the ailing jet crafts in America, like the 747s, I came up with this idea and everyone told me I was a freak of nature for thinking this was possible.
Well, you weren't saying to have it as a city.
Well, I mean, if
How about Venus?
If they can put blimps on Venus, NASA, yes, who is NASA? They can put blimps on Venus. Why can't they build my dirigible blimp plane to save us 85% on our fuel as we get these planes up in the atmosphere and then they slowly take off? A blimp car is possible too. Yeah, exactly. Blimps on Uranus sounds like polyps. I don't want to go there. You know, you got to talk to your proctologist about that right away. All right, so they think I'm an idiot, Sarah, but they really believe that we're going to somehow put blimps on one of the hottest planets in the world. Oh, this is great. Love it. And NASA's talking about that. But they won't mine the moon. This is wonderful. This all makes sense now. I was raised on Sesame Street, Mr. Rogers. Now kids are raised by iPads. Dakini, that's so true. But maybe Mr. Rogers and Sesame Street can be on the iPads. Well, let's get Obama to take the flight to Jupiter. Yeah. Okay, David, this is how crazy anti-gunners are getting. Have you seen this article? Lots of anti-gunners want to push for gun control. As you know, folks, we don't support gun control in America. Sarah and I are against gun control.
Oh my goodness.
But
that is crazy.
Check this out, folks.
They want to tell kids to steal their parents' guns to hand them over to teachers. That is so dangerous.
Tell me about it. Isn't this bizarre?
Whoa.
What has this country turned into? Seriously, if these people on the left think that they can not only push gun control and set up false flags to create gun control, the PSA is encouraging kids to steal their parents' guns, and hand them over to teachers. Can you believe this? A startling new anti-gun ad released by San Francisco-based production company encourages children to commit a series of crimes by stealing their parents' guns and turning them over to school children. This is unbelievable, folks. Thanks for that link.
You know what would happen?
That's crazy.
It's like
they could blow the gun up in the process of handing it over. They could hurt themselves. I mean, this is the most reckless anti-gun advertisement I've ever seen.
Oh my goodness, and then it says, can you take this away? I don't feel safe with a gun in my house. I mean, and then it says,
dangerous.
Our children deserve a safe world. Stop gun violence now. That is so disturbing.
I really hope we can all be good friends too, Gingerbread.
The crime for stealing the parent's gun is stealing. That's the crime.
It's teaching kids
to steal. It doesn't matter. I know. Stealing is stealing whether you steal from your parents or steal from your neighbor. That's
unreal.
That is unreal. And I mean, taking a gun into a school is that's another crime because
bizarre.
Schools are weapons-free zones. So that's the second crime committed in that
Exactly.
video.
That's the second crime committed.
Yes. Unfortunately, Tomato Girl. Yeah. What's next? You steal your parents' credit card for a good cause? I know. I mean, wow. Straight out of 1984. That's just so bizarre. It's all... I understand controversial videos trying to get people to talk, but that's... Yeah, the parents are not pressing charges. I'm not saying indicting the fourth graders, but of course it would bring... there's nothing good going to come out of that video because except for maybe a conversation. Because really, if anybody acts on that, it would not be good. What is this a picture of, Nate? proper backgrounds. Oh, the CNN. No, I'm not going to use the CNN background, but if there was a background that was like that without the CNN logo, maybe I would. Can you work on that and maybe do some Photoshop, get rid of the CNN? No, I don't do that. I'm beyond that. I'm beyond all that. Well, for one, it's illegal in in Washington State for any teacher to do that. Parents can engage in corporal punishment, but teachers can't, which I think is a good thing. No, James. Yeah. Thank you, Ron. What is this? Oh, this is one. Not bad. Okay. Is that free to use? Do you know how to search for something that's free to use? I will go look for it. So Google images. Yeah, it comes out of San Francisco, where Senator Leyland Yee is, who's been indicted for trafficking firearms. I know.
So we support the right to bear arms. We really do. We don't see the point that these gun control activists are trying to make. I mean, you see so many knife killings in countries like China and England, Australia. Just last week, 4 kids were killed with a knife in Australia. That the idea of stopping something that is innately protected by our Second Amendment is a wasted effort by the Democrats. And it's another reason why you shouldn't vote Democrat in the upcoming election, because they keep pushing the agenda of what many people are calling a new world order, where globalists want to disarm our nation much the way they tried to disarm the German people during World War II. We don't want that to happen. We don't want tyranny to happen. It is conspiracy theory night. Yes, James. Thank you, Gingerbread. You're starting to sound good.
So, news.
Yeah, can you believe that? You guys got the link, right? About the stolen gun link? Did you copy it and send it in the room? We lost the link.
No, just a sec.
Okay.
I don't know if we lost it or not.
Good.
Maybe I did.
It's a nice night. Thanks, James. Well, yeah, exactly. Enforce the current laws. You know, there's a registration period in the state of Washington, and I filled out a survey for the NRA, National Rifle Association, before I ran for a local office here. And they gave me a C- because I simply wanted the existing registration period in Washington to remain in effect, because it gives time to screen and make sure that nobody's seeking a firearm who shouldn't be. A verification period is what I support, a verification period. And not necessarily registration, just verification, making sure that you're not a violent criminal or a felon or a mental patient who wants to kill people. That's all. And the NRA gave me a C-. It's just amazing to me how these people operate. Ooh, that's such a cool background, the one above it.
One.
They're both cool.
This one?
I think that one is cool. Let's grab it. It's so cool.
Well, I made sure I went to
free links.
View image, save image.
Save image right there. All right, children are running around the marshmallow guns and large rocks. I fear for the youth of America. All meth heads? You mean children are on meth? How do you know this? David, what do you think about John Kerry? Well, he's one of the richest, most heavily invested senators in our nation that turned into, obviously, one of the most powerful men in our country as Secretary of State. So I don't trust him. And Sarah had a big argument with John Kerry on a radio show about 3 years ago now. John Kerry was promoting Barack Obama's version of an infrastructure bank, and we've been talking about an infrastructure bank at the same time that didn't involve the other banks. And Sarah actually told John Kerry on the phone, well, how is your infrastructure bank different from the Federal Reserve? And he got all angry at Sarah, literally. He got all flustered and angry. Basically, so many banks are on the take. And part of that whole central bank concept that the Federal Reserve is, that John Kerry is literally their spokesperson and representative.
Good night, Nate.
Thank you. Sony's hacking? Yeah, I think the Sony hacking could have very well been done by our government. That's what I think about the Sony hacking. It's designed to create a reason to attack North Korea. I believe our government, or I should say the CIA, is groping for reasons to start wars. And I think it's just another one in the long list of ways in which they're doing it. I don't trust the whole North Korean hack story about Sony. I really don't. And if they're trying to predict create a situation where we have to, attack North Korea for some reason, it could lead to yet the worst possible false flag operation in our country, which would send our nation, would send our nation into a terrible, terrible spin. The worst possible conspiracy theory out there, in my opinion, is this theory. The possibility of a total blackout of our nation. A total shutdown. Our nation could very easily become without energy. They could claim a EMP from Scud missiles attacked our shoreline. They could actually hit our nation with our nation could actually shut itself off, claiming a North Korean attack. It's possible. Cool, great background. That's what my biggest concern is, that somehow they're creating yet another problem with North Korea. A situation like that would put our nation not only in the dark, we'd be literally going back in time 100 years. We'd have no chargers for our iPads. Your kids wouldn't be able to go on there. Can you imagine how upset they would be? Screaming, Dad, my iPad isn't working, my iPod isn't working, Dad, I can't. You're going to have an incredible upheaval in your house. Because then kids will have to actually read a book. It'd be horrible. We'll have to turn on kerosene lanterns and live by candlelight. It'll literally turn our country into a war zone in 2 months. I'm going to fix it. I can fix it, and I will.
No 5-color patch. No.
No, we don't want Hillary, because Hillary's got all kinds of dark connections to corporate America.
Why have you broken 2 smartphones, Mad Dog? Okay. What do I think of Ben Carson? I think he has some very valid points, James. I like James. I like Ben Carson for the most part. I actually read Ben Carson's biography, and I went to see him speak as well. Yeah, exactly. Who is my favorite wrestler? Well, isn't it Bret Hart? Isn't he a wrestler? I know nothing about wrestling other than that's the name of a wrestler. So, am I right? Wrestling. Yeah. Because of course, he is my last name. The only person allowed to wrestle in the Bible is God. Yes, I am a right brother. WRIGHT. I'm related to a right. Okay. I don't know. I did find there was a couple of people that tried guys that were wrestling in front of me one time, and I think they were trying to I don't know what's the word, impress me, but it did not impress me at all. Does David wrestle? No, David doesn't wrestle. Okay, I don't know anything about him, Pencil Tucky Ducky except his last name is Hart and he does wrestling. That's it. The angel wrestled with Jacob from the Bible. Interesting. Well, Jacob also married Rachel, Ann's her sister. Forgot her sister's name, but so I did know a little bit about the Bible. Well, Jacob's Achilles heel. Or was that a difference? I'm thinking of a different thing. I tend to think so. I know there's a lot of people that like it though, Bog Monster, so I shouldn't say anything too bad about that. There's also a Greek mythology dealing with the whole Achilles. Achilles is Greek. I think it's Greek. Anyway, gonna go check back into the news. Top stories: Woodstock vet Joe Cocker dies at age of 70 of cancer. S&P 500 and the Dow finish at an all-time closing high. I guess I should have done some investing before today, but that's okay. North Korea reportedly goes offline, which is good. They probably just control the internet hub into North Korea. I don't know if they would be able to do the same here in the US because I think we have more hubs than they do. Staten Island congressman expected to plead guilty to fraud. What? I think I'm just gonna purge you for now. Yeah, they had pretty limited internet before then. Whoa, this is kind of strange. A meteorologist was shot in front of his station last in front of his station last week. He's still recovering. He said he was shot at 11 times with a semi-automatic handgun as he was leaving the station. That's pretty crazy. The person looks pretty serious. What, James? Oh, really? I don't believe that. I do believe that maybe them trying to control the weather is a problem. Especially, we'll be playing more of a video at the end of the show about geoengineering. We had a little conference earlier this year, and it was interesting. Okay, thank you. I'm glad you were being sarcastic. You say point blank shooting during the day is almost always related to drugs. He claimed that there was no interaction between them before he just started shooting at him. No arrest has been made in the case and the motive has not been identified. Huh, interesting. Hi, Sir Mike. Who's they and my weather? So this was according to USA Today, and it was back in Texas. Be well. I was just going through some of the news. My goodness, there's some crazy stuff going on in the world. Okay, you're getting bored with all of the trolls. You're getting a tea. Do I notice that News Network is 15 minutes of shooting stories, 10 minutes of weather, and 5 minutes of sports? They never give you real news. Wow. Yeah. It does seem like that. Where do you like to get your news from, James? You read the American Thinker online. And you go to the Onion, Giraffe Brain, you think there's better news there than... It's kind of funny to me sometimes when David actually plays Onion videos like they're real. And I'm not sure what to tell him. I do like Wikipedia. Wikipedia is pretty good because, it's monitored and people pick people off if there's... if they're, if it's not verified. People repost on other sites and people get riled up. So you do Wikipedia like as a secondary to check out whether the news is correct? And I guess they have to, the footnotes under it for more scholarly sources. That's good. There's a link that shows the Sony hack was either an inside job or a false flag. Interesting. Instapundit. I have heard of him, but it's been a while since I've been to his site. I'll open this YouTube, but I'm not going to play it now. I'll look at it later. Ew, so loud. Mark Dice, you're loud. You read other countries' newspapers online too? Oh, interesting, like Canada. Very good. Yeah, I haven't been to Instapundit in years. Maybe I should check them out. I was just looking at USA Today. Oh, is it PJ Media's Pajama Media or something? That's weird. Oh, he's trying to say he's sorry to you. Well, maybe he'll have to wait. Maybe on Christmas we'll be kind and ban all. We'll wait till see what you say. In late October, a brown and radioactive burp at Y12. Y-12 nuclear weapons plant. It's a uranium processing complex. This is kind of a weird story from knoxblogs.com. That is a strange story. Whoa. Man, scissor fight, that's crazy. Yeah, it's true we sometimes get better stories from other countries because not all the American propaganda. That's why I think BBC is such a trusted source in the US, but since the US knows that people like the BBC, then they're more likely to move away from the BBC. I just found an interesting story on Instapundit via Instapundit at knoxblogs.com. I'll give you guys a link. There you go. This is really rather interesting. I don't know how old this story is, but in late October, they said basically an environmentally sampling crew noticed brown stains on the exterior of ventilation stacks at a plant's 9212 uranium processing complex. They were in a ventilation system for a place that dissolves uranium metal for processing. The system is set up to help protect workers by capturing contaminated vapors. On October 20th, a work crew was changing out filter paper when they noticed abnormal stains on the exterior stack. A brownish substance had been injected from stack 47 onto stack. Anyway, it had been ejected and onto the surrounding roof. Oh, thanks, Scissor Fight. You like that one as well? What do you think of that Al Jazeera, James? You do like Al Jazeera? They sent a corrective action plan. They found the roof had low levels of radioactive contamination. The brownish substance was uranium. Further details were not released. Decontamination efforts had significantly reduced the size of the contaminated area. This is interesting. Frank Munger, he might be somebody good to follow. Manhattan Project Park update. This is very good. He covers the Department of Energy Oak Ridge facilities and many related topics: nuclear weapons, nuclear waste, other things nuclear, environmental cleanup, and science of all sorts. Atomic City Underground is a news blog. So they're setting up a Manhattan Project National Historical Park, Oak Ridge, Los Alamos, and Hanford. Hi, I'm doing very well. How are you, Bamboo? Are you going to have a nice Christmas? Have you found another woman yet? I mean, not another woman. Have you found a wonderful woman yet? I hope so. They talk about the comings and goings of the consolidated nuclear security. Yes, Bamboo, for you. I know you were looking for a woman. This is rather interesting. James Hack, director of Oak Ridge National Laboratory for Computational Sciences, has been elected a Fellow of the American Meteorological Society. No time for women, hear your roar. Wow. You find plenty of good women, but you're greedy. After a while, you want a new one. Oh, that's not good. You have to be happy. What did David say about a good relationship? You have to have acceptance and...
Well, there's certain levels of tolerance and acceptance, and in order to find a good person, you have to really meet a lot of people. But don't get too serious with a lot of people. That could be very emotionally draining.
Am I frozen because I was looking at nuclear sites?
I don't know.
I will refresh.
What's frozen here? We're live. No, we're live. Let's check.
Why don't you go off on and go back on?
Okay. We're still broadcasting on.
Okay.
We're still broadcasting on our YouTube channel, which is fine. Try this again. Oh, it's a movie. Yeah. Sunstar said, okay, we're back up and running. Great. So what have you been talking about?
I was asking people what they liked, what's their favorite news site.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, one person said they liked Instapundit. Do you remember Instapundit? I was like, oh, I haven't been there in like ages.
Instapundit is good?
Yeah, instapundit.com. And anyway, while I went over to look at Instapundit, I was like, what? A brown and radioactive burp? And then I found this guy. He blogs all about nuclear
problems,
things.
Nuclear breaches.
Sometimes nuclear breaches, but sometimes I think he might work for the DOE or something.
Hey, Fox Nation. Up in here. Up in here. Well, there you go. So he's a Department of Energy Oak Ridge facility person who basically is preaching the party line. He's a government worker who's in there blogging. God, you got to love him. Yeah. I want to check something out real quick. Let me just go to my conspiracy library. This was an interesting story. A woman and a man talking about...
This is Trevor Coppola for Anthony J. Hilder. I'm with Deborah Tavares, and we're going to discuss a few topics here.
Thank you so much.
Listen to what they say.
I appreciate the opportunity. One of the things that we want to talk about is what we were discussing a little bit ago, and that is the significance of this NASA war document that was found on the NASA website.
Right.
And the need to urgently get this out in front of as many people as possible because of the content of this document.
So was this document available to everyone, or this was on their actual website and someone found it?
That is correct. It was on the NASA website, and it was a document that actually is a PowerPoint presentation by Dennis Bushnell, the chief NASA scientist at the Langley Center. And it was presented in 2001, July of 2001.
All right, so this is a document they brought up on their show, and the future is now. It's an actual NASA document, and you got to wonder. I went to the internet and I looked up the future is now, and I said debunk this, and it's the only person who's actually debunked it is a NASA employee. There's nobody else who's debunked it. So like this guy who's blogging over here that you're reciting, who's a government official for Department of Energy Oak Ridge facility, which is one of the most, well, I won't even label it as one of the most interesting nuclear facilities in our country, but yeah, underground testing, the whole thing. Then you got people blogging on the internet claiming that these two people are whack jobs. Fruit Loops.
Well, why didn't you actually read the thing? I've read part of it.
Yeah, well, it's strange. And you can look it up on the internet and find it for yourself. The future is now. Go ahead. The future is now. And it's been reprinted again. NASA. It's a PDF document. I'll give it all of you guys can actually see this document that StopTheCrime.net copied it. Hi, Flyman.
Maybe you should download it in case Stop the Crime.
I almost think I should download it because apparently it's a warfare strategy document designed to end the human race. And it's so strange that one can't even begin to analyze whether, I mean, this is a real plan or...
What, in J documents? Or whatever?
Yeah, I'll put it in documents. All right, so let's take a look at the document. Well, let's be clear. Here we're taking a look at the document. Capabilities of the enemy after next, ongoing worldwide technological revolution, economic trends, potential nature of farther term warfare. This is people at the highest level, DARPA, CIA, you name it.
It's meant to incite thought and discussion.
Right. It's meant to incite thought and discussion. It's based in all cases upon existing data trends, analyses, and technologies. Provides in some cases a somewhat broader view of prospective developments and issues, but it goes on to actually talk about how the human race could be destroyed. The world's in the throes of a triple exponential technological revolution, IT, really? Bio, and nano.
Throes. Is throes spelled correctly?
Yeah. Changes occurring at scales of months instead of decades. Zeroth order potential effects upon defense, offense equipment, CONOPS, and threats. Spaceship Earth. The crew are plundering the ship's supplies, tinkering with the temperature and life support controls, still looking for the instructional manual, engaged in bloody scrimmages in every corner of the vessel, increasing the size of the crew by 2 million per week. Humans have taken over and vastly shortened evolution. This is a very interesting document. You guys can look at it in your spare time, but the only person debunking it is a guy who works for NASA. Go figure.
Yeah, he probably helped write the document.
Mm-hmm.
He's probably saying, I didn't mean for you guys to be all conspiratorial about this. I just wanted to have a hypothetical art.
Yeah. So you're saying on the light side, you're saying it's just a conversation that NASA was having.
I guess I'm the only other one debunking it besides it.
No, you're debunking it. I mean, it's okay. You guys can debunk all you want. David, it talks about non-nuclear explosives. Exactly, Flyman. I rest my case. You can talk about whatever you want. I'm going to leave. I'll be right back.
Who's Erica?
Well, let's be clear.
Oh, Eric.
Yeah, so nothing to worry about there. That's theoretical research, exactly. It's no big deal.
I mean, hopefully they do engage in theoretical research at NASA. I mean, that's why we're paying them the big bucks.
No big deal.
I thought. Cherry Breeze. Maybe she went to bed. She does live in the UK after all. So it's like 2 a.m. in the morning. I know sometimes she gets that inability to sleep, insomnia, but that's about it. I'm not saying it's a problem. Inspector Pugsley, obviously David and I don't always agree on everything.
But we still agree there's a need for a third party.
Yes, we still agree there's a need for a third party. There's a compound named N2. It's 1 pound is equivalent to a 1 kiloton nuke. Whoa. Math has destroyed your life? Why? Why would you say math has destroyed your life? Maybe because you've gotten too deep into math, deeply than I did. Just kidding. Okay, good. Because I like math. But I need to get into it more deeply. You missed the first and second party? I know. Well, that's all right, Golden Orbs, because you're here for the third party. That's just so funny. Cross-species molecular breeding. Order of 70% of world's research conducted outside of the U.S. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, so it talks about the trends that are happening in the world and how we're headed toward destruction of the earth. You know, these are real serious considerations, but do you see our political parties, the two-party system, talking about this? No. They wouldn't even entertain the discussion of what is in this document. We wouldn't hear Bill O'Reilly talking on TV or Sean Hannity talking about the imminent destruction of the earth and mankind. But yet NASA has got, an entire document dedicated to it. So what's really going on? We're being led astray by a very controlled media and a two-party system that's made to make us believe we have a free nation. Dedicated to choice. What, choice between left and right? I mean, it's ridiculous. Without even allowing a third voice in the conversation to mix things up. Thanks, Drag King. The Dow Jones is nearly up to 18,000 again on profit taking by Wall Street executives who siphon money off the Federal Reserve. Thank you. You got a haircut from your barber? Excellent, Fox Nation. You tipped him £3, really? Okay, Mad Dog, take care. You're conducting procedures. Okay, good night. Good luck with your cases. So all these things that Sarah's looking at right now are kind of intriguing her. It's like, what?
I kind of like it.
Yeah, she likes the document because it kind of looks at the reality of our world getting worse and worse and worse. So she's intrigued. Petrochemical feedstock, terraforming, preservation, production of fresh water, rich mineral source, seawater. Yeah, I think seawater could be a rich mineral source. Major emerging law enforcement issues, privacy, biocrime, IT and net crime. This was all predicted 14 years ago. Protection of human electronic implants. That's all, David. It creates good conversation, and I think that's good. So you guys don't want to react to the document. You just want to look at it and go, okay, well, the government's just looking at all contingencies. That's what good people,
we should all
as
do.
we should all do.
Yeah, as
nothing
we
to
all
worry about
should
here.
Do.
All right. So looking at the document, you really begin to wonder,
this guy's thinking
should we all be
deeply
implanted?
About the problems that
Right.
are happening in our world and what
Right.
we can do to overcome and address some of the problems
Exactly,
in our world.
yeah.
That's what I think is happening.
I know.
With this document. The future is now is like, hey, everything's changing so rapidly. Our future is going to be here while we're having this conversation to address the problems of our future.
So true.
So we need to start addressing them ASAP. Never seen camera angles of the Boston Marathon.
Well, what if you were living in an area that was becoming heavily fortified?
Right?
These are some of the camera angles from the Boston Marathon attack. We'll take a look at that in just a second. Thank you. What if you were living in an area like Tacoma, Washington, where they
we'll
literally...
see those later.
I'll do it later.
After the show.
After the show, we'll look at that video.
We go off YouTube.
What if you saw, like, Tacoma, Washington, Fort Lewis, they built 15 miles of double fencing with barbed wire facing both directions, okay? And you drove by and you saw 15 miles and a new on-ramp that cost $1 billion that can literally funnel cars off of I-5 into a railway yard. What if you watched all that being built in your neighborhood? Would that upset you or make you think that maybe our country was turning Fort Lewis into a FEMA camp? Well, that's what people I have met have actually seen up close and personal.
I think that there's certain conspiracy theorists that jump to the idea that, oh, this is a FEMA camp and all, and the government's controlling us and all of this. I think that just that idea just perpetuates fear rather than perpetuate any kind of solution.
No, I'm just saying they're doing that right under your nose. Now, recently, our air traffic has increased, I would say, 3 to 4 times as much air traffic above our house, where we live, on an island which houses the Whidbey Naval Air Station, WHIDBEY, Naval Air Station, which I knew 20 years ago. I lived near a Naval Air Station. I got that. I never thought that they'd be using our area as a training ground for new F-18 pilots and training and also testing vehicles that were just produced by Boeing or Lockheed. I never thought that this would be a testing and training zone.
That's what you never thought.
I never
don't
thought
know.
our government, Sarah, would ever
Well,
use. No, I'll tell you. I never thought our government would use a populated air region where 50,000 people live as a testing ground for some of the most heinous weapons of mass destruction on Earth. But now I know that I'm living under a war zone, veritably. Anything could happen. So when we look and ask these questions, why is America gearing up for war? Why are we still being ramped up for more and more conflict around the world? When you think we've already diffused it with the largest military in world history, literally our budget is more than all the other nations combined. The reason really clearly is they have a hidden agenda. And it's not just creating jobs. It's about creating absolutely the worst possible power structure on Earth, the most dangerous military giant ever to face the planet, the United States. So they're all about creating an incredibly powerful tool. What's their end game? China may have a bigger number of military personnel, granted, Inspector Pugsley, but they do not have the best air power, and they do not have the best nuclear deterrence like we do. We have 60 nuclear-grade submarines, if not more, with multiple warheads on every one. China has 2. Ooh, that's a great background.
Yeah, I just don't know if it's for use.
Yeah, I don't either. Yeah, it's probably private domain. Go ahead, thank you. Hey, thanks for all those great links tonight. This is all good. But don't you begin to wonder about a nation that continually arms itself when it has no enemies? Aren't you a little bit concerned? Like with Hitler, you saw a country that, took over portions of Poland, and they thought that was it. Oh, well, even Neville Chamberlain went to visit Hitler and said, there will be peace in all time, and agreed a negotiation to have peace. Neville Chamberlain was rudely mistaken when our country saw Germany continue building their war machine and continue growing. So the only other organization in world history that's done this, only other country, has been Germany in World War II. So we're doing exactly what Germany was doing prior to World War II. Isn't that interesting? That begs the question, are the people that ran Hitler to power and created Hitler's regime, are they themselves powering up our country? Did they somehow implant themselves in our government and create organizations like the CIA, created in 1936? Did they want to hedge their losses and create a second powerhouse to back up their original powerhouse, Germany? It's very likely they are. Look at Operation Paperclip. Look it up. Our government brought all the scientists over from Germany, the nuclear scientists, the biological scientists. One of them came over and created the Plum Island facility off the coast of Long Island, where many biological weapons have been created. And then there's others that have developed social engineering technology, created when they studied how ethnic minorities behaved in concentration camps. I mean, all of this stuff. We have a Department of Homeland Security. So did Germany. We just found out from Dianne Feinstein's efforts to reveal what the CIA was doing that they're using the very same advanced interrogation techniques that Germany was using. Hey man, isn't this unreal? So we're starting to see the evolution of a Nazi-style apparatus in American military. Very serious. And I think the American people are beginning to wonder what the hell's going on. When the Department of Homeland Security authorized the purchase of 2,317 armored vehicles over the past 2 years, what were they planning on? Does anyone even care? All right, we have a definite negative person in here who has to be banned. Please avoid the negative statements. Thanks, man. Okay, what's the question? Dungholio, that's very, very retarded what you're saying. I'm just saying our government already has more than enough strength to handle any conflict whatsoever, even with China or Russia, or both. We're more than prepared with an arsenal of 60 nuclear-class submarines. So clearly what's happening is they're building a police state. Because I don't like what you're saying. I'm not running for president of Russia. Show me some respect. I'll tell you, I get no respect to the show. God, man. Does anybody even question the apparatus of this weapons machine being created? No. The two parties don't question it. John McCain and John Kerry both want more weaponry. They've allocated $1 trillion of money we don't even have while we're watching our nation go bankrupt.
Right. Well, I would say, Dungholio, you can go speak your mind on your own show.
Dungholio, when you're running for president, you don't want someone telling people that I'm running for president of Russia. That's insane. I'm an American. You're questioning my patriotism. It's disrespectful. I don't like it. Therefore, I purged your message. You're lucky you're even in the show. Well, I'm glad. I'm used to the haters, Dungholio. I really am. But give me a little time to talk about building a nation dedicated to peace, okay? I'm launching into a discussion about how we could actually create technology that would be saving the planet, not destroying it with more weapons of mass destruction. This is America. And this is not Truth Tuesday. That's tomorrow night. This is Truth Tuesday's tomorrow night. Right now it's Conspiracy Monday. And I don't mind talking about how we've been played by the most powerful people in the military-industrial complex. And I'm not going to stand around and discuss this in a vacuum. I need to get to the meat of this, and I'm going to get to it in a few minutes when I come back from my after show, and you can visit with Sarah some more. Thank you.
I just want to take a moment of silence for all the people who lost their lives this year. There's so many men and women who lost their lives, some from natural causes, of course, like aging and even naturally occurring diseases. There were 7,000 people that died from Ebola overseas. There's countless men and women who've died in wars, and then there's the people who've died at the hands of crime. And I think that crime is such a tragedy that that's the one place that we can focus our efforts on, building up community, building up different areas, so that when people have that sense of community, I think they would be less likely to engage in criminal activity, especially in areas that are struggling with socioeconomic issues. I think that maybe that's the case. I don't know about that active, Mike, but I do think that it would be very good for us to build up a sense of community. One idea I have for the police department should definitely be to reach out to neighborhoods, especially the neighborhoods with the lowest socioeconomic status, and bring in either even a vegetable tray or a fruit or even cookies in and visits with apartment buildings and neighborhoods where the most crime happens, and also the lowest socioeconomic areas as well, and areas. And I don't, it does, in the past, it has tended to be black neighborhoods, but I think that it's not just about black and white, red hand, Luke. It could be about red, it could be about white, it could be about yellow. It's not about someone's skin color. It's really about the economy. And especially when you see our economy, people are struggling just to survive, just to put food on their table. And then sometimes when they are struggling, they don't tend to want to turn to the police because, there's been issues with maybe family members getting into trouble with criminal behavior. Some of the criminal behavior is so that they can, some of their criminal behavior is in order to help their local area. And I think, yes, sometimes cops abuse citizens, but really what the deal is that's why I say that they should reach out and build a sense of community, and it can begin with simply bringing cookies to the neighborhood, because it takes 8 positive encounters to counteract any negative encounter. And as we know, the police do an incredible job coming in some of the most stressful situations for people. The police are the first ones on the scene because that's, they call 911 and the police arrive, whether it's someone dying or someone being robbed, and no matter what kind of activity they're called to, it's a very stressful situation for them. So that's why I believe police should be there even when it's not stressful. And actively pursue positive encounters with the American public.
I agree. Coffee with cops.
Well, and
that would help a lot.
Instead of just inviting people to coffee, bring them cookies with cops, and take cookies into the areas that are hardest hit criminally and through crime and socioeconomic areas. Because there's sometimes when if they brought them a cookie on the weekend, that would be that would actually help supplement some of these kids' meals.
It's true.
Because they might eat one meal a day in some of these areas. With
kids could really profit from that if they got cookies from the cops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be better if it was something more nutritious like vegetables or fruit, but at the very least, it's just.
I totally agree.
I don't think that you can purge everyone from a ghetto and just like, oh, let's wipe off everyone because they don't work. And
right.
And yes, I am sad that people you think would get better food than you. To me, that makes me sad that you feel that there's people out there that you're jealous of the people that are poor. That means that you need to be also, you need to be given some loving and some good food.
Yep. All you need is love.
I know Meow TV too, but maybe she would be in favor of them bringing them carrots or apples. Bring a bag of apples to the neighborhood. Well, Rage, of course, there's a traditional view when you offer a cup of donut. Yes, I can see him being offended because of certain things, but yes, bananas or things like that. I don't think gift certificates are better. Oh, you would not trust anyone handing you food? Okay, well, just come and knock on the door and offer a smile. You don't have to take the cookie. Yeah, watermelon, anything. I mean, it doesn't have to be cookies. I'm just giving an example. I'm saying like David says, instead of the police officers always monitoring the roads to try to increase traffic tickets, the beat cops, the cops on the beat should be really going door to door and just saying, hey, nothing's wrong. I just want to check on you. I want to introduce myself to the neighborhood and do regular routine. They should be doing regular routine monitoring of different neighborhoods and things like that.
Right.
And say, hey, I just want to introduce myself to you. I'm Officer so-and-so. And if you need anything, here's my card. And,
right.
And it's having that,
Contact.
I was saying, having that sense of community, building up a sense of community is very, very important.
I agree.
That's what I'm saying, especially at a time when there's so much strife between cops and so much problems going on due to our society, due to the economic issues.
I think what's really happening overall is a general lack of communication happening between our political groups, between the American people, and I think lack of communication can breed contempt, and it is really at the basis of how our nation's kind of drifting toward it seems like we have kind of an artificially contrived racial divide in our nation. I don't believe it really exists among the average people. I think the media is hyping it up. This Ferguson situation has kind of created a distance between cops and minorities. People are beginning to feel like our nation's getting more and more police state-like. And then Obama runs out claiming he wants to make sure our country doesn't become a police state, so it pacifies all the Democrats, and they go, oh yes, thank you, Obama. Meanwhile, Obama's actually arming all of our municipal communities with the ability to literally create a war in our neighborhood. Is he spreading guns throughout the country, distributing armored vehicles? So when you say that they should have a nicer face, the police should have a nicer face and touch people and be nice to them, I think we have to also look at downsizing this military state that's being formed under our own noses right now.
The thing is, as far as the military thing, I know that disagree with me here, but I believe that it's like investment in equipment, and it's like, for me, I would rather, so the cops are going to go buy a new vehicle, right? Well, if there's a vehicle, fully functional vehicle, a Cadillac, out there, and they're going to either buy this used Cadillac. Actually, they're going to be given this new used Cadillac, or they have to go buy a new Ford.
Right.
Because of the image it portrays.
So you're saying you just see? I would
order
the government.
Investment going on. There's already been investment in building up this kind of equipment.
All right.
And we should use it.
You see these areas that I've marked here, or that are marked on the map here? All the blue areas are the areas with the highest population in America. Now, if our government were to give weapons to all these local municipal areas in the blue and distribute all these weapons in the blue, we would virtually be able to take over the population. The military would take over the population. Whereas if we were to create a map where, instead of distributing all the weapons in every municipal area, we could put them in regional FEMA areas and integrated with the National Guard and kept them away from the local governments, we wouldn't have an overseeing takeover of our communities with police states. We would instead see a low-profile police that would meld very nicely with your idea of a nice cop kind of thing, where they don't step in our face. We could easily put these same vehicles that you say we're saving them by putting them in municipal areas. We could put them just as easily in areas that are centrally located that could provide necessary security to the nation at large without having to jeopardize anything.
Well, if they're not being used, though, wouldn't they?
Like the middle of Kansas,
If these vehicles are not being used, don't they? I mean,
or right here.
Isn't
in
it better
Wyoming.
for vehicles to be used mechanically?
Sure, yeah, but using them on a regular basis, frankly, parking them and putting them in plastic baggies and oiling them is just as successful in keeping an engine operational as long as it's heavily oiled. So,
Arizona Dude, you said that, community building starts with families, and a lot of people don't have a good father figure or good male role model in their life, and a lot of the cops are males. That's why perhaps doing this idea would have them have a male role model in their life.
So you're saying roll up to the local elementary schools in tanks and armored cars and get out and deliver cookies?
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to get this straight. She actually strongly supports the whole distribution of the tanks and the armored vehicles to as long as the cops are delivering cookies. Okay, great.
I know. I know. Never mind.
No, you can go with that idea. And if you guys feel more safe having a stronger military presence in your community, you don't want rioting. I understand that. And I think the mindset of the American people is kind of halfway in between wanting their freedom and wanting security. It's always a trade-off.
Well, Marina Wolf does not want armored vehicles. The only point for me with the armored vehicles, I understand the perception that armored vehicles have. My perception, my idea is that when we see an armored vehicle, there's fear and all this, or people see a cop and they are automatically afraid. And I'm trying to say, whether you see an armored vehicle, whether you see a cop, I think it should, for me, I think because I did get to know police officers when I was a child, and they showed up at my school with, maybe not cookies, but a kind gesture, a kind word. And
that was better, yeah.
I think that, and I was taught, if you have a problem, go ask a police officer.
Okay.
And I think that doesn't happen today. I mean, rarely do police show up at schools.
All right. Well, another added bonus to carry your argument forward is with a strong show of police, you get rid of this an incredible threat of illegal alien violence in your area. A lot of this is a representative picture of 36,000 illegal aliens that were recently released by Barack Obama into cities around our country. So you can see why we would need more armored vehicles in every city just to deal with the illegal aliens that Barack Obama is allowing into our cities, who are criminals. So in a way, I kind of agree with you. I would rather
Now you're swaying me over to the idea maybe there shouldn't be armored vehicles, because I don't have a problem with people from Mexico or any other country.
So you don't have a problem with these kind of guys as representative of criminal gangs getting released from prisons into our society? You're okay with that? That's a certain
portrayal that's not necessarily true.
Well, no, it is true.
I think
6 months ago, Barack Obama released these men into our population.
I don't
he
think
just
those
allowed
specific
500
men
million
were released.
No, not specifically. I said as representative of that population. They're lining up in Arizona to get their license right now. Arizona Dude says that.
Yes, exactly.
Thank you, Uncle Lester. Yeah.
So police department across the state of Maine have taken advantage of a program. The program is, from my understanding, the program that they're referring to, the $12 million in military equipment, is the military has invested in all of this equipment. The military continues to invest in equipment. I would love to see the military stop buying armored vehicles for war overseas.
Me too, yeah.
But if we're going to continue to invest in that, why not use them?
I agree with you.
Use the vehicles.
I totally agree with you.
I mean,
yeah. So in a way, I agree with you, but I also felt that they should be out of the hands of locally untrained police officers in your area. They shouldn't necessarily have access to armored vehicles and SWAT teams.
Why not? I mean,
think about it. Your local police department comes to your house in a SWAT unit to take over your arms because we're in a martial law situation. This is exactly what happened in Katrina, Sarah. So people, local law enforcement can move in and take away your arms. They can literally make you defenseless, and they can do it with the power of a SWAT unit, courtesy of the government. All right, so armored vehicles protect us all.
I think there's a difference between an armored vehicle and a tank. I think that, I agree that there shouldn't be a vehicle that can
Overkill.
actually
Right.
have weaponry on the vehicle that can be used as part of the vehicle, like a tank. But as far as protecting the police officer is inside.
Okay, Vermont is required to stay a state by law. They can never be a country unto themselves. If some people in some states think they can secede, they'd never realize that the government itself is just essentially a front for a corporation, which includes Vermont in the corporate listing. It's VT, I believe, Vermont. VT is the name of the Department of the United States Corporation, and they could never leave. It's part of the corporation. So Maine, frankly, is part of the corporation too. They can't possibly secede. They're corporate, owned and controlled by a corporate unified front called the United States. And they're also protected by the laws the United States of America has constructed, guaranteeing them their rights. So how could they possibly secede if their rights are guaranteed? The 10th Amendment. So any state that wants to secede is going down a very dark road. I'm not a nationalist.
For your
no.
car because.
Hang on, we got to remove this, please. Yeah, I am not a nationalist. I'm purging that statement because I want you to know I've never been a nationalist. Thank you. I'm a centrist. Well, I talked about the illegal alien population. I think all of you agree we need armored cars in every city. So let's not talk about, why they're preparing for a potential civil crisis. Let's talk about why they're preparing for a civil crisis and why they're allowing illegal aliens to create a civil crisis in America. Let's talk about that conspiracy, because that's a little bit more interesting than justifying whether we need armored cars in every city in America. What if they're purposely weakening our country's borders by allowing illegals into our country, all the while building militaries at local levels to ultimately oversee a martial law scenario? So weakening our borders, overburdening our services like Arizona dude's talking about, giving all driver's licenses, and then ultimately seeing the nation decline more and more, and pissing off a lot of people, mind you, while you go to the market and see some illegal alien family go, oh, mucho muy cerveza, I mean, the comida, mucho comida, a lot of food, all free, courtesy of your tax dollars. Yeah. And people are getting pissed off. That's the big picture. We know that. That's right, DT Laura. Thank you. That's what they're doing. So I'm just calling it as it is. They're trying to make our country into a war zone. And all the while, they're beefing up the security in every city. Do you see this with this trend here? They're creating the environment for their own military buildup. And people, like many people in the room here, are saying, well, yeah, we need it because they have all these illegal aliens running around and they're going to, try to destroy our nation. They're walking us right down the chute, just like cattle, to the takedown of our own country, the breakdown of our freedoms, breakdown of what the Constitution means, and the very breakdown of the fabric of this nation. They're trying to destroy our country from within. The very same thing that the KGB said they would do when Khrushchev came over here. And they're using every means possible, infiltrating the social liberals with a communist directive and literally trying to turn our nation into a communist or a fascist war zone.
Well, I do think that our problems with the border are a huge issue, and I have talked about some solutions for that, which is immediate deportation, which is not allowed due to our
laws,
Supreme Court decisions that say everybody on who steps foot on American soil should receive due process. Therefore, I said, oh, well, if they have to have due process, which means like a court case, a court trial, then they should have deputize every single Border Patrol agent
as a justice, as an administrative judge,
as a federal judge, and say, and have an actual.
That's good.
court case in the field.
Right.
I mean, they don't need to take them to a location to have an actual a trial to say you're crossing, here's what you did and here's what we're going to do, and find them as a judge. And then another thing I think that
That's
we
brilliant,
need,
actually. I think that's really brilliant.
we need
You came up
changes
with that
to
idea, too.
our border patrol is on our border patrol. And I this idea I came up with because I have to say I was watching there's this show about our border patrol.
Yeah.
And so they have heat-seeking ability through our helicopters.
Yeah,
And our
thermography.
helicopters go up, and they can't tell the difference between what is the heat of coming from our border agents and what is the heat signatures coming from the actual immigrants crossing into our border. So they cannot direct the border agents correctly to find the actual immigrants come across the country. So I believe that all border agents, it only needs to be worn while they're on duty, and they can leave it at work if they don't want to take it home, which is perfectly fine. But they need to be tagged with GPS.
Right.
A GPS locator that says, and so it pops up, it should be able to, I don't know why we don't have this capability, it should pop up on screen, and it should tell the people in the helicopter that agent whatever is right here.
Right.
So he can say, agent whatever, please go north, 30 yards, and there's a group of immigrants.
Yes. Okay, so Trollzar says that they should be using infrared flashers. That's what the military does. Thank you, Trollzar.
And
it's invisible to the naked eye, right?
There's an issue where we have military equipment that should be used by border patrol agents.
Now, Sarah and I both agree on a lethal electric fence along the border with Mexico. A 1,000-mile fence that would be created by those same kind of illegal aliens I just showed you, the scary ones on the screen. Those are the people I would not release from our prison system. Those are the people I would have work at the border. As long as they're not capital offenders, they would stay in prison.
There is some issue.
But they would be
with
working at the border, and then they would slowly be able to be deported after they spent 2 months working at the border. This way we use prison labor to construct the fence.
There's a little bit of issue with having the prisoners create the fence.
Okay.
Because if I were a prisoner creating a fence, knowing that you were going to release me back to Mexico, I would definitely be working on a little hole so I could get back through.
Oh, right. But there's a way
I would be sabotaging the
already
work.
Thought through it. The electrical grid itself uses a nexus of electronic beacons that can be constructed using a safety net of clasps that are all electronically activated clasps. And as each clasp goes down, we'll see the entire fence being built right in front of our eyes. We can attach these clasps to every 1 foot of fencing. And every 1 foot of fencing can virtually light up like a beacon, and we would see any break at any time on the safety net. Now that safety net could be overseen by sentinels, laser sentinels that could watch these, and we'll have ample audio terminals everywhere saying, "Do not enter for fear of death. This is a lethal electric fence. It will fry you upon entering this location." Okay, but we can still go into Mexico and party in Tijuana and Rosarito Beach. I mean, come on, guys. I'm not keeping you guys from your party time. We'll still have open borders in certain areas, but we will have a strong lock on it, and we will make sure that those Border Patrol agents, or even military, like National Guardsmen and women, are fully compliant with our lie detection oversight. We make sure they're all clear of lie detection. Now, they did a study of new recruits in the Border Patrol, and they found out that 10% of the new recruits were tested for lie detectors. 61% of those new recruitees failed a lie detector
And
test.
they're also saying,
It's amazing.
last we heard about, this was 6 years ago, but they were saying that they didn't have the resources to perform a lie detection on the Border Patrol agents, and I think that could be done. Lie detection could be done by the
Minutemen?
Minutemen, yes.
Minutemen could do lie detection on Border Patrol. We could get volunteers to do lie detection. Seriously, we can integrate with the Minuteman forces at the border and make sure we have a strong, complete, connected group of people all working together to maintain border security. I think border security is going to be our number one issue in the 2017 era, frankly. Because I think what we're being set up as is a country that's going to have a complete porous border like England does. And they're going to break us down by just letting people in. And I think that's the biggest thing we as Americans have to guard against in building this new political movement. We cannot allow the mindset of the two parties that have currently occupied our White House to continue weakening our border. The Republicans benefit because their business cronies get cheap labor and exploited labor.
Actually,
the Democrats benefit because they think they get more votes or something.
And Mariana Wolf, yes, it's actually true. In 2008, there was a big immigration from the U.S. from people that were returning to their home countries because people were no longer hiring them. And yes, I do agree, if we can actually follow federal law and prosecute people who hire illegal immigrants, then there would be a lot less people here.
Yeah, now, Sir Mike says everyone knows Obama lies. Well, the Democrats won't admit it, Sir Mike. They all stand by Obama with absolute allegiance. Even people like Michael Moore still have allegiance to the Democratic Party, even though he's the only one who's practically questioned Obama. It's crazy. Very few Democrats have ever questioned Obama. And we have this incredible problem with the media not allowing an independent voice in American politics because the Republicans can't seem to raise enough questions of Obama to really raise the problem to front stage center in American politics. We've got a lot of kiss asses in the Republican Party that are willing literally to turn a blind eye to immigration just so that their cronies, corporate cronies that got them re-election money, get what they want, which is cheap labor. It's just crazy. I'm sorry. I got to take another break. I'm getting stressed out. I'll be right back.
Okay.
I'll be finishing the show shortly.
Marina, I tend to agree that I think that there's both, and there is a website, by the way, if you guys are out of work and I don't know if they're hiring this time of year, but it was a big push I saw a couple of years ago, and let me just see if it's still there. takeourjobs.org. You want to be a farm worker? This is a site that was created by the undocumented workforce and the high unemployment, and this is about basically they're willing for Americans to come and be farm workers because people say this goes with Marina's issue that a lot of people aren't willing to do the work that immigrants are, and other people saying yes, there are people that are willing to do the work. If you are a U.S. citizen and are willing to do the work of working on a farm, please visit that site, takeourjobs.org, and please sign up to be a farm worker. Yes, and if you know anybody like that, please let them know that there are jobs out there, some jobs out there. And I understand a lot of people say if we let everyone into the U.S., then the U.S. will become like Mexico. You milk goats and cows on your own farm. That's pretty cool. You feel like you live on utopia. That's pretty amazing. It's a lot of hard work, Sir Mike, to live on a farm. I don't. But so my hats are off to you, milking your goats and cows. Wait, today you need to look like you don't need a job. You need to start, but not so much you threaten the interviewer because you know more than them. You have to put half of the knowledge in your resume they use against you, color, religion, and unique connections. So if you can pass with all this, then you can get a job. So it's easy to say homeless don't want to work. The U.S. citizens that are homeless don't know how to get to the farm for work. That's more like it, Spectra. I agree. So 20 dairies where you're at, all Mexicans and the white boss. Wow. Wow, Maserati. So you have barn crap to scoop up, and you'll pay them to scoop it up. Yeah, Sir Mike, I know. It's hard work is hard work. My hats are off to people that are doing hard work. I'm not sure what the federal minimum wage is. I know here in Washington State it's quite high, but I'm not sure what, and in some places it's like $15 an hour, but the federal minimum wage, don't know what it is right now. The federal minimum wage is $7.25 per hour. That is in effect as of July 24th, 2009. $7.25. There's work out there, but 100 people are applying for minimum wage jobs, and they offer full time and give you less. Oh, they offer a full-time job, but they give you less than full-time, and then if you get less than full-time, you don't get any benefits or anything like that. I'm gonna purge you for now, Gingerbread. Please don't ever say anything like that. I like that. I demand hugs. There was no war except greed and corruption and entitlement. What? Marina Wolf, I think you're a little bit, you need to go back and study some history, because there was definitely war on the North American continent before white folks ever arrived here. Ooh. There was definitely problems. But I'm just saying that, okay, sorry, it's true, I probably did join midstream, so, but I'm just saying there was definitely, North America was not the ideal utopia that everyone thought it was when they came here. And unfortunately, a lot of it was due to, it became that because there was issues with all of the illnesses that was brought here. And that was a big thing, when illnesses were brought and people were not immune to them. Ironically, Africa is probably going to be the most immune country in the future because of all the immunizations and drug tests they're doing there.
You really think they're helping the Africans? Many people believe the vaccination programs are designed to weaken their immune resistance. Many people believe that a lot of the vaccinations are designed to kill them.
Well, I'm saying theory. If that's the conspiracy, wouldn't it be ironic that it works in reverse, that it kills all the people that are weak and that are not immune to the diseases, but then it leaves the strongest possible people there on that.
Well, that doesn't really nest well with the AIDS theory that's out there that was created to kill off African people, gay African people specifically. But no, seriously, there's a lot of myths that are very possibly conspiracy theories or conspiracy facts. The creation of AIDS points to the creation of AIDS points to a scientist named Gallo, who developed the AIDS virus. He actually discovered the string of AIDS viruses. He was actually developing the very thing he claims he discovered.
And then also wasn't it that they had just done, I think you might still have it, that Ebola, where they wanted to test Ebola on human subjects.
Right.
There was a company that wanted to do that early last year,
right,
before
yeah.
the outbreak occurred. And so
they're creating that.
I wonder if they found their human subjects in Africa and then it escaped from their lab.
It's scary to think that Big Pharma could be engaging in unbelievable, unspeakable biological weapon development, but they are. And it's not unspeakable to say that weapons, biological weapons centers like Plum Island, which has now been decommissioned, but there's one now in an area in Nebraska. There's a new facility being built in Nebraska. There's the possibility Manhattan, Nebraska is a new location for a bioengineering lab. But there's a link between the Ebola outbreak and a U.S. bioweapons lab developing a strain of rabies and Ebola, attenuated, weakened virus turned into vaccine that could very well poison the entire world by making us all fearful that Ebola is going to be very dangerous, so we'll, of course, get the vaccine, and everyone will unwittingly receive the very virus itself at a very low level and could very well mutate within our own bodies. You see, virus technology or vaccine technology was created with Louis Pasteur, and other scientists over 100 years ago. Yet they're still claiming it's cutting edge. There's no evidence it's cutting edge at all. In fact, there's evidence it doesn't work. That what they're doing is actually creating biohazardous strains of potential weaponized viruses. There were a group of researchers in England recently that were so proud of themselves because they came up with a weaponized version of the avian swine flu mix. And they wanted to publish it in a journal. And thankfully, the intelligence service, the Royal Intelligence in England, was monitoring this. And they stepped in and said, you're not going to be publishing how to weaponize anything at all, period. But they were so proud of the fact that they could inject little animals with these potential viruses or vaccines, AK/viruses, because they are essentially weakened viruses. You're not going to tell people how to weaponize that. Sorry, buddy.
Thank you, Marina. Well, have a good night.
Thanks, Marina, for coming in. Very respectful. Thank you. I just don't trust companies that have already had a track record of problems with vaccinations and virus studies, like Baxter Labs. There's a woman, go ahead, there's a woman who's actually gone out of her way, Jane Burgermeister. If you look her up online, you'll see Jane Burgermeister. She's done a couple of lawsuits against Obama and Baxter Labs and countless others. It turns out Obama was at the heart, get this, he was at the very heart of the vaccination, swine flu vaccination. He started getting money for major companies like Baxter Labs and GlaxoSmithKline when he was a state senator in Illinois. He, along with Jim Talent, the former senator, got over $24 billion allocated to pharmaceutical companies to develop vaccines. 24 billion tax dollars is good money. They didn't deploy those vaccines like they thought they were going to. And I think they're like stuck with a bunch of vaccines right now. So they're still looking at ways in which they can create fear and havoc among the American people to justify us all going down to the store going, yeah, gotta have a vaccination. Oh. And then you've got all these parents that don't know what's going on with their kids. Why are we getting more ADHD and more autistic kids in our families in America? A growing trend towards special education popping up all around the country right now. What's happening? Clearly, something is not right in River City, everybody. And our nation is in dire need of answers, and we're not getting them from the FDA. In fact, they're endorsing GMO technology, which could very well kill us off. They're endorsing virus and vaccines and patented vaccines like the Ebola vaccine. They're literally signing off on it like it was a good thing. Even the EPA said that fracking is not dangerous to the health of anybody living near it. I mean, it's crazy. Thank you. You're lifting weights like I am? Yeah, I bench about 200. When I get up from a supine position, I'm pushing at least 200 off the couch when I get on my feet. If I get up off a bench, I'm literally pushing my weight, my body weight, up. Up and away in that beautiful balloon. All right, can I address any issues on your mind right now? Every other country on earth enforces immigration law. Why is the U.S. the only racist nation for doing so? Thank you, Trollzar. That's a very good point. Really? You bench 350? Wow. Barrow sells its AIDS-infected drug banned in the U.S. in Europe. There's a classic example right there. August 5th, 2006. This is when Jane Burgermeister actually filed a lawsuit, by the way.
Whoa.
Yeah. These are real stories of Big Pharma engaging in some weird stuff with our government. And I am very concerned that our nation is somehow going to be the unwitting dupe of a very dangerous vaccination program that could very well endanger our population, not make it better. Now, if you can prove to me that, without a doubt, that vaccinations don't trigger some memory loss or brain disorders in children, I'd be all interested. I really would. But I cannot prove that. Sarah is not upset. She's just looking down at the keyboard and typing. I don't think Koreans are threatening our nation, Maserati. I really don't. I don't really believe that the whole North Korean thing is as real as you might think. I'm beginning to wonder that our government intelligence is somehow behind this incredible creation of anger at North Korea. It's almost like a round robin every few years. You go from one country to another. First it's Iraq, get rid of Saddam. Then you go to Osama bin Laden, the head of the guy who attacked our country. Then you take him out. Then you go after all the jihadists, and you get tired of the word Al-Qaeda, so you come up with this word ISIS. And the American people, we got to have another war. We got to keep stopping it and keeping it over there. And then that gets kind of old, and the American people are kind of unfazed by all the beheadings going on around the world that maybe are real or maybe not real. We can't really tell because it's all coming out of the Pentagon. Then the American people have nothing to look at, so they just present, the next one on the list, North Korea. Oh, yeah. Let them attack Sony. Oh, yeah. Who created the Stuxnet virus, the most powerful virus in the world that broke down the entire Iranian centrifuges? Turns out the United States and Israel worked collaterally on that. You look at the kind of technology that would be required to break down an entire nation's electric grid. It's highly unlikely that they couldn't also take down Sony at the same time. I mean, who's to say that this isn't some sort of a psyop? How do you know that? But even if it is Kim Jong-un, and the shutdown of the internet today in North Korea signals our amazing retaliation, I'm okay with that. That's fine. Because there is a good possibility it is a North Korean attack on Sony. I'm not ruling it out. But why would we react to it? Why would President Obama grandstand and say he's going to make sure we retaliate? I mean, this sounds more and more like the fomenting of yet another crisis around the world. And that's all designed to take our mind off the real crisis that's looming. Our government is going broke. Our nation is completely belly up and has been bankrupt for a long time. They continue to hide the reality that they can't cover any debt. You know, FDIC right now, you might as well have that written on toilet paper. It's as meaningless in a bank closure situation as any other term out there. FDIC insured means your money is safe as long as they can wait 20 years to repay you. Doesn't mean anything, really. You're not going to get your money right away. So if there is a bank closure coming or looming in the near future, they're looking for any false flag that they can come up with. And maybe an EMP would be the one thing that they would use. An electromagnetic pulse weapon against our nation would knock out our electric grid and put us in a very vulnerable position. If that's their next step, we're all in for a major wake-up call real soon. If that's what they're planning, we're in danger. Thank you, Uncle Lester. I like to help you guys get informed. I'm just presenting these as conspiracy theories that have been discussed on the internet. I do not endorse these statements that I'm making right now. I'm merely asking questions. So don't get the impression I'm trying to fan the flame of fear here. I'm just saying, yeah, we definitely need some oversight here. We need our government to be an honest government. And we need our public officials to be accountable for what they're doing. Not what we have today, which is a bunch of freakish prostitutes running for Congress because they like money. All right.
I wonder who shut down their internet then.
Well, it could be anybody. I mean, who did hack into North Korea? If they have the power to hack into North Korea, they could easily hack into Sony. I mean, seriously. I mean, to say that the government isn't behind every program out there is absurd. Our government, let me tell you, our government has 80,000 workers at the FBI, and they're making over 100 grand a year. These 80,000 workers, their number one job is cybersecurity. 80,000 employees at the Pentagon and the FBI combined. Literally, 80,000 tech workers are working day in, day out. If anybody's got the capability to withstand a cyber attack, our country does. So I'm not that concerned about the Sony hack, just like I'm not that concerned about the Ebola breakout in Liberia. I'm beginning to think that a lot of these things are just like news spin, being tested on the American people, and they literally bob their heads and go, oh yeah, well, it must be vetted. But every single story I've seen, including the ISIS stories of beheadings, every one has only one source, the Pentagon. If the Pentagon wanted to tell us the sky was purple, we'd have to believe them. Oh yeah, it's purple, all right. Yeah, don't use a generator unless you absolutely need it. Once you start working on a new generator, it immediately picks up corrosion around the head.
And don't any gas that you're storing in tanks for that, if you're like a prepper, make sure you use your gas, like if you can, once a month, put it in your car, or at the most every 3 months, because gas that sits around for 6 months, it can cause backfiring issues and it can cause some severe damage to engines.
Ninja Hart says, have you spoken about the 4 Gitmo prisoners released over the weekend? I haven't touched on it yet, but this is what Obama is trying to do. He's trying to release anybody. I mean, he's releasing all the 36,000 illegal alien criminals have been released into our cities 6 months ago. And now he's releasing 3 of the top terrorists that are because he's simply trying to follow up on a promise he made. You know, when 5 terrorists, known Taliban terrorists, which were hard to acquire, it cost thousands of lives, American lives, to bring these 5 men in. When Barack Obama traded them for a known deserter named Bergdahl, and his trial is coming to a close soon, they'll probably find him guilty of deserting. He'll probably serve time when he gets all said and done. Barack Obama is systematically weakening our nation and allowing terrorists to persist. And if they're doing that purposely, it's to make use of it from a propaganda point of view, to create the big bad enemy out there that we have to constantly build up military hardware to stop. It's only trying to create more and more justification for yet more and more military weapons around the world, which frankly is not going to help our economy much. It'll help a few fat cats at Boeing and Lockheed and Raytheon, but it won't help our economy that much by just making weapons of mass destruction. What would help our economy is helping to build renewable energy solutions that every nation in the world will use to make fresh water and low-cost energy and lower the amount of pollution in the world. Those are the things that are going to sell in the future, not just weapons of mass destruction. Unless we really are headed toward the World War III scenario, which if we are, And I never thought this was possible, but they have such a control over our nation, they're willing to put us to the brink of war in order to finance their bank accounts and cover up the incredible rampant printing of money that they've engaged in over the past 20 years. It looks to me more and more like they're just looking for something to sidetrack the American people all the time.
You know, it's really interesting with the gun rights here in Washington State. They recently passed a law that if you sell a weapon, that you have to have the same background check, perform the same background check as if you were like in a retail establishment selling a weapon. So you cannot sell or give a weapon to a friend without jumping through all these.
You know, I think that's ridiculous right now until we actually have an internet-based system that's flawless, like the NICS system that could actually be instantaneous. Somebody could charge $10 for somebody to get a background check for verification. Every single gun sale could be happening with a guy with the internet console next to him. It'd be no big deal to do this. A simple $10 fee gets an internet check on anybody. I mean, right now you can check backgrounds for $39. You can get full financial background.
Well, it's not that. It's a FBI, so you can call up your FBI
Right.
and get a background check done on your friend that you're selling a weapon to.
Theoretically, you could call or use the internet to do it instantaneously. I mean, it could be that easy.
It could be. I don't know if they do it. I don't know if they have an open internet one, but I'm just saying it's a law at Meow TV2. It's probably not going. The only way that this law would actually be enforced is if one person went and bought a weapon and the person that they gave it to or sold it to committed a crime with that weapon, then the person who originally bought the weapon would be the one that would be also implicated in the crime.
Now, the stock market inflating does not equate to a good economy. You want to look at the economy, call Sears up and ask them why they're closing over 103 stores. You want to go to look at the economy, call up JCPenney and wonder why they can't make enough money in the busiest season of the year to deal with their losses right now. You call up your local realtor who can't fill in the local empty buildings that are for lease right now to businesses that want to charge too much to the businesses. You look at the economy, ask all the homeless people in your corner that seem to be propagating, looking for food to eat and some way of getting ahead in life.
And Shrek, your state has different laws. I'm just saying that's a Washington state law. I don't know the Arizona state laws.
You want to talk about lowering the low cost of energy, it's all manipulated. The fracking boom has brought the oil down to $55, but the oil brokers in the Gulf nations like Saudi Arabia are able to continue producing and keep lowering it simply to muscle out the fracking businesses that were basically started up about a year ago on a shoestring with the intent of making profit. This could just be an elaborate attempt to knock out any fracking oil sales in America. It could also be a lot of things. It could be a way of weakening the ruble and forcing a war with Russia. That could be another motivation for the lowering price of oil, but it's all manipulated. We've always known that the production value of a barrel of oil is about $50. So for it to be 55, they're still making $5 a barrel. Okay? Now, as far as the other BS statistic that we're being fed every day, that the unemployment rate is down to 6% and on its way down to 4.7 according to the Federal Reserve, and people who are prognosticating using fake statistics, that statistic of 6% is BS. Right now, 92 million people in America are currently not looking for work or unemployed, if not 100 million. 1/3 of our nation is unemployed. Yet they want to let us believe that 6% and down to 4.7% is going to be. They are lying to the American people. And if you come in here and give me a justification using factoids, you're wasting your time. Because every factoid can be pulled apart as just another judo statistic. I'm sick of this. We need to face up to the fact that our country is in really rough shape. And that our two parties have failed us. Period. Specifically the Democrats now. Because they spend worse than the Republicans. But they're both very spendy. crazy. System failure is on its way. I couldn't believe the carpeting at J.C. Penney's the other day.
Oh, I know.
I mean, it's like from the 1960s, and they've been washing it 100 times. It was like coming up at the seams. So they're on their way out. You can tell all these American businesses are on their way out. Oh, but our economy's doing great. Well, you know, frankly, automation will replace everything. But we need to start building new jobs in America with new products. And I've been saying that from the very get-go. And inspire the free market to grow. Offering 2% loans directly from an infrastructure bank, not some greasy group of bankers called the Federal Reserve. By getting a 2% direct loan to the American businesses hiring U.S. citizens at a living wage. Maybe the Republicans are setting us up with low prices to raise the interest rate. That's another very interesting idea. Yeah. All of those are possible, push at. Every one of them. Capital is king as opposed to labor, right? And labor is what we need. How do you think we got into the Great Depression under the New Deal? The government created American jobs. And then businesses wanted to tool up and contract for building up to obviously build production up for the war. Well, we could easily build up production in America if we recognize the real war we're fighting is the war against the environment. We're starting to see a degradation of our environment that's unparalleled in history. And cities like Beijing and others are absolutely hellholes for people to live. So the model of American growth and capitalism being exported around the world is a recipe for human destruction. And if anybody's going to change that, it's going to come down right here in the good old land that created that whole American dream. We're going to have to change and lead the rest of the nations toward a more sustainable future that makes sense. People will get money to live and may not work. But that money can come back from income the government receives from products created. And I've introduced this idea, and I'm going to talk about it on Wednesday, called hybrid capitalism, where the government actually runs like a business. And we shrink a lot of those big corporate jobs, or those big government jobs, I should say, and get them down to a more smaller jobs, more 36,000 a year jobs. Spread the wealth a little bit among the people that really need it. And those are the people that will take their money and buy things in this economy and improve this economy. The average Joe. And they're the people that would buy a Model T kind of car that gets 100 miles per gallon and costs about $15,000. They would be the ones that would buy a car created by a U.S. auto corporation that saves the day for American technology and transportation. We could do this. We don't need Prius to come in here and invade our markets with $40,000 cars. We can undercut them in our own market. We could sell an American car that everyone just loves. We could build a powertrain that people could customize and build their own private companies around building things on top of the powertrain. All of that's possible. But we need leadership, man, and we don't have it right now. Government is not thinking. They're a bunch of old prostitutes sitting around wondering where their next free meal is. Thanks for listening. We'll be back tomorrow with Truth Tuesday. Any other final words?
I don't know. There's some gun arms trade treaty. We'll be looking at that tomorrow with the UN.
Okay.
UN gun arms trade treaty. We also have a few videos to see, YouTube videos that some people would like us to watch.
Okay, let's
and
cue
then
that
I
up.
also
Yeah.
have queued up, ready to go.
Let's go. You go for it. You can do that. Thank you.
I have a geoengineering video to watch.
Oh, excellent. I'm so glad. Yeah, thank you. And all of you have a great night and good luck preparing for Christmas or Hanukkah or wherever you're celebrating. I hope you're all having a good time with your family. It's a wonderful time of the year to be with family, and even if you don't have family, just to enjoy life. It really is. I love Christmas. Get into the spirit of Christmas.
All right, take care, everybody. Good night.
Good night.
Infamous hacking of Sony Entertainment may very well be either an inside job or a false flag operation designed to further clamp down on cybersecurity. While much of the American media is pointing the finger at North Korea, Other outlets are casting doubt on this theory. It is a conspiracy theory, actually, that North Korea was involved in this. Here's an article out of PC World. Think North Korea hacked Sony? Think about this. It goes on to say that the hackers didn't really mention the interview at first, saying, quote, if the hack was about stopping the release of the interview, why didn't that come up earlier? For the first couple of weeks, the messages that accompanied leaked data didn't mention the movie at all. It was much more about Sony and its executives, leading to the idea that it was a disgruntled employee with internal access to their systems. Here's an article on Fox News that says, well, evidence in the Sony hack suggests that it's possible involvement by Iran, China, or Russia. So what is it? Is it North Korea, Iran, China, Russia? You know, it's a conspiracy theory that it is North Korea. Here's another article in Wired magazine that says the evidence that North Korea hacked Sony is flimsy. Here's from CNET, a popular tech blog. The FBI lacks evidence that North Korea is to blame for the Sony hack. Oh, they just lack the evidence. Whoops. Yes, here's the International Business Times. North Korea didn't hack Sony Pictures, but who the hell did? There is Radar Online raising the possibility that it's an inside job, pointing out that the FBI is actually focusing on a Sony employee as a potential source of the hacker leak. Here's another one. Was the Sony hack an inside job? Claims hackers had help from someone with intimate knowledge of the email system, revealing that hackers targeting Sony's computer system may have had inside help. Company executives believe hackers had inside knowledge of the system. Yes, but it's been blamed on one new film. Remember the iCloud hack where all the celebrities, A-list celebrity babes, had their personal, intimate, pornographic photos taken and released to the public? Well, that kind of got swept under the rug because it probably led back to a CIA contractor or to the CIA itself, and, well, that would be quite a big upset in national security if the general public were to realize that with a few clicks of a keyboard, virtually any NSA employee with the proper security clearance could do exactly what the iCloud hackers did. Edward Snowden, the NSA leaker, revealed the detailed names and activities and the power, the capabilities of a variety of NSA operations. Let's cover them briefly here. Interdiction is the plan where hardware is